In case you haven't figured it out, that was our new running back, Breece Hall. And doesn't he look good? I think he looks good. I think he looks real good. Just like our chat. Nathan Colgrove, what is up? Anthony G, my man. The proud New York Jets fan is in the house. Marthea Simon, thanks for being here, my brother. Gina Arena, Aunt Gina, what's going on? I am super excited too. Let's go Jets, 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 Jets. And you know who else is excited? Teen Bean is excited. Brainy Bean is excited because their daddy, Green Bean, is excited. We're all excited. We are a much better team than we were 4 days ago, and we should celebrate. What is up, King Goulter, my man? Talking Jets with Tigo. Good to see everybody here. You think you New Jersey? Let me know. Let me know. I'll give you the website where you can go. You don't have to spend $200 on one. But you got to wait until Sauce Gardner picks his number because I think that's going to be the hottest, biggest selling jersey probably in the country. Sauce just in the back. I'm going to customize mine. It's going to say hot sauce on the back. Yes, Rob D. He is a stud. Breece Hall is a stud. So is Sauce Gardner. Those are the two people I am most sure of and excited about. Pretty excited and sure of Garrett Wilson. And then JJ edges are always the riskiest, but man, do I like the way he looks on tape. And we're also going to talk about Michael Clemens and see maybe if we doubled up on edge and got the steal of the draft. We're going to talk about that. And everybody loves Aunt Gina. Wait until Green Bean finds out you were here. He's going to get all jealous. I was the one that you took and turned into a Jet fan. Why are you supporting NFL chaos? Just kidding. Anyway, let's get to business. And to do that, I need some music because we all know what's going to happen right now, right? I cannot be here right now alone because I have to tell you about our draft picks. And without this guy, it's not going to go very well. Please welcome my man, the man who does player analysis. He can tell you their weight. He can tell you if they're good stock. Can they jump? Do they have moving ability? Do they know how to cut and move? Did they do that in college? Do they know where to place their hips? This is the guy to tell you. Please welcome Doc C.
Jeremy! Get man! What's happening, chat? Man, I'm happy to be here tonight.
Oh,
What a freaking great weekend, man. What a great weekend. In every sense of the word. Not only did we kill it with the draft, this is my favorite time of the year, football-wise. My two boys killed it in their little league games this weekend. I took my one son to a minor league game this afternoon. He got a ball from Anthony Volpe. I don't know if anyone knows who Anthony Volpe is. He's probably a top 3 prospect for the Yankees. The Yankees AA team happens to play about 15 minutes from my house, so we went and saw him. And man, what a day! What a weekend! What a great time to be a Jets fan! What a great time to be alive! And I'm happy to be here with you, Mr. Chaos.
and I am happy to have you here as well. So much happened. One of the things that was surprising about what happened was I don't think we've ever gotten so many guys I knew who they were. Guys that we've already talked about. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty exciting to have them call out names of guys we dreamed about getting. And then we got to the end, even up to the offensive tackle, to Max. I was like, oh, we knew who he was. We picked him a couple of times.
Sure.
We talked about him. We picked him. He was definitely one of the guys on our list that we can get in a later round, in the mid to later rounds for offensive depth on our line. So there was no shock there. But then they took us off guard. They went for a guy that I don't know about you, that we never discussed on this channel.
Listen,
Michael Clemens.
I say it all the time. I am not a professional. There's guys that dive a hell of a lot deeper than I do. But I fancy myself, pretty astute to the players coming out of college and into the draft and so on and so forth. That's kind of what my niche is, my forte. I love doing it. I love watching games and trying to play scout and do all that stuff. I can honestly say, full transparency to you, Jeremy, to the chat, I knew not a damn thing about Michael Clemens until we drafted him. Until we drafted him, and then I started digging a little bit. But really probably just scratching the surface and haven't gotten a chance to watch too much on him. So it was exciting, man. It was exciting, not the pick I would have made. I think that, and what do I know? I trust what JD does, but definitely from left field, but after getting to watch him and look a little bit about, on what he does and so on and so forth, that I get it. I see where the fit is in that Salah Ulbrich scheme, so on and so forth. So, exciting. What an exciting weekend, man. What an exciting weekend. And I say it, everyone, I always wear some sort of Jets paraphernalia, garb, whether it's a hat, a jersey, a shirt, something that shows the Jets. And this weekend, more than any other, I had people stop me and say, "Hey, great job this weekend that Jets did. Hey, did you see this, man? Hey, did you see that? Well, you guys did great in the draft. You guys killed it. You won the draft, man." I don't know if anyone else had that same kind of experience, but everyone is talking about the Jets, and it's not negative. What a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. What a beautiful thing, dude. It's great to say that we won the draft, but like I said, I'll quote my dear friend Jeremy Cravat. Now the pick's got to hit. I'd rather win meaningful games in November and December than to win the draft.
Absolutely. That's the thing that has to change above everything else in our lives as Jet fans. The thing that has to change is we got to win more than just win in April.
That's right.
We've got to start winning on the field.
It's nice to win in April. It's nice to win in April or win, every team thinks they won right now, but it's nice that the consensus is that we won in April. Now let's parlay that into wins in November and December.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question about it. That's what we need to see happen.
Yep.
I think we are starting to put the tools together and the roster together to do it. One thing that I've talked about and I'll keep talking about is if we rewind and go back just 15 months, 16 months, and look at the roster and then look at the roster today, it is nothing short of miraculous.
That's right.
What JD has done is absolutely incredible. Yes, they have to still do it on the field, but on paper, the difference between 16 months ago and today is absolutely just breathtaking.
Somebody put out a graphic on Twitter. I'm sure a bunch of different people did. I think I saw it. I don't know if it was Narnia or Jets Today or somebody that showed the roster at the end of the 2020 season and our roster now. And it's like, holy shit. We went from the laughingstock to putting together some tangible assets from top to bottom on our starting roster, offense and defense. It is an absolute win in 15 months, just like you said. It's really, really feels good that this whole rebuild process is coming to fruition. Trust the process. We've had to trust the process, and we've tried to trust the process in years past, but for some reason, this whole JD regime seems to be different. There's just a different feel about how this team is being built right now, and it's wonderful, man. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to anoint us Super Bowl champions yet, but I think we got the building. We're putting the foundation in place, and now's the time that we can start going from baby steps to taking bigger leaps. And I love it, man.
I've got to tell you, in complete honesty, I've never, ever felt this way about the organization and the franchise in 40 years.
Wow.
We've had great teams, but I've never, in all the times that we were on the bottom, because there was, we've always been a roller coaster since I started watching them. Never have I felt or seen the development of a team quite this way. We've gotten stars, we bring in a good coach, we make a run, but the way this team is being built is like nothing I have ever seen. It just feels different. It feels like we're doing it the right way and we're building this incredible core. And we're doing it in a way where we're keeping that cap flexibility. We're keeping everything in a set up in a way that we can be flexible, that we're not stuck on it on any player, that we have flexibility, but we got this young core we're building.
Yep.
And in the center of it all is Zach Wilson. I will not forget that. He is definitely the center of all this. But what I hold on to is those last games of the season when he came back from that injury. I don't know if he's going to take the step to be like he could. He has the ceiling to take the step to be a quarterback who carries the team to a championship.
Sure.
But what I saw at the end of the season was it looked like he was getting to the point where he wouldn't be the guy that stops you from going to the championship if you put the right players around him. He showed that he can manage a football game. He showed that he could think, protect the football, and keep you in the game. And now all of a sudden he's going to have a running game. And now all of a sudden he's going to have tight ends and more weapons at wide receiver. So it just feels like at a minimum he's going to be able to be enough. And at the and then there's so much ceiling above that of what he can be.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree. And we've talked about it as Jets fans, and every piece of, every content creator out there has said it at some point of the line. Like, we need to surround Zach Wilson. We have to give him the chance to be better. And JD has done that. The Jets organization has done that. They've given him the tools. Now he needs to step up. I'm not going to, say it. I fear it, but, I'm going to hold him accountable. Zach Wilson now has to take that next step, and I agree with what you said. The second half of the year, we saw a big improvement from what we did the first half of the year. Absolutely. But I personally, and maybe this is me just being a little too aggressive, I don't know how the chat feels about this. I'm not just content with, a game manager. I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo. I want someone that when push comes to shove, I know is going to progress. And if he has to come out there, and I want to feel confident that, hey, there's 2 minutes left on the clock. We got 2 timeouts and we got to get 80 yards and Zach's going to get us there. You know what I mean? That's what I want to feel confident in. And those are the steps I want to see him take. We've put the pieces around him now, and there's nothing that tells me that he's not going to take that next step. There's nothing that I've seen or I feel that tells me he's not going to take that step, but I'm going to hold him accountable to it, because all the stuff that JD is doing for us. And I love that you mentioned, Jeremy, how he set our team up financially with flexibility and not doling out these big money contracts long-term. We have flexibility. But all of that doesn't matter if Zach fails.
Yeah, and again, I think his floor is what we saw when he came back as a guy who can manage the game. It's almost like his floor is Jimmy G, in a sense. And not that I believe he's going to be at his floor. I believe he's going to take those steps because we saw those flashes of talent that guys like Jimmy G, Tannehill, guys that they don't have. Yep. We saw it already. We saw these flashes of just incredible talent. But what I like is that he could develop and get there possibly without the pressure of losing, meaning he could take small steps and get better and better, but we could be winning while he does it as long as he's not making, mistake after mistake. If he if he protects the football without even reaching his ceiling, taking his time going up that stairway, like Josh Allen did, we could be winning games along the way. And that takes a lot of pressure off of him and builds his confidence.
Yep.
So I just love that. I love when you have an outside fan like Aiden, a Jacksonville fan saying that y'all have a legit chance to make the playoffs, and that 13 to 15 teams do. That's exciting to hear because Aiden's been honest and straightforward. You know, he's a Jaguar fan. He loves his team. He loves what they're doing. I think they've done some great things, and vice versa. And it's good to hear other fans say it. Clutch has been, Kansas City Chief fan, and he watched that Kansas City team turn into a winner, and he's sitting there saying the Jets are doing it the right way. And we got former NFL players all around the league now on Twitter saying, "Look out for those Jets and taking notice of us."
And I'll say this to Clutch too. Kansas City, I think, killed it as well in the draft. They had a phenomenal draft. I think, the Jets were up there. Kansas City had a great draft. Baltimore always does magic in the draft. And I really, really like what Seattle did as well, which is surprising because they seem to always pull those Belichick-esque left field picks and reach for guys a couple rounds too early. But this year, I think they really, really, really built a good, solid foundation as well. So kudos to the Chiefs, man. Kudos to you.
Yeah, it's just good stuff. And we got Snowball. I've never seen you in the chat link and the stream before, but I'll go through my spiel. Hit the sub button, my friend. Hit the sub button. If you haven't already, hit the sub button. If you've been here watching all along, thank you for the support. Martha Simon, and no more excuses. There's definitely no more excuses, which is a different kind of pressure on Zach, but he's built for that. I'm not worried about Zach at all when it comes to that. He has the composure and the personality and the character from everything I've seen as a guy that's going to handle that.
Yeah.
He's really showing that. I'm not worried about that. But the pressure we needed to take off of him was the 1.7 seconds of time before he had a guy forcing him out of the pocket.
Yeah.
That's what we needed taken. That's the pressure we needed taken off of him.
Absolutely. And the improvements that we've made along the line, the now formidable double-headed backfield that we have to take some of that pressure off, the weapons that we have inside and outside that he can throw, there's no more, we don't have to sit there with Jeff Smith being our, number one wide receiver. Braxton Berrios doing things that Braxton Berrios shouldn't have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Rodney says just once he wants to run 23 personnel. I would want them to do it just to see Frankie from Flatbush's reaction. Like I would just run to Frankie's channel to see what he says if we run a 23, just to see his arms, his little arms waving, going, oh, just being all excited because it would give him a new number to throw out there. He'd love that.
Absolutely, man.
So Marthia is talking about Zach. I believe he'll take the next step. He has the talent to become just a game. He's too talented to become just a game manager. I agree 100%. I'm looking at worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But that was what we wanted to see at least. Like, what did we get out of his rookie year? We saw that his floor was game manager. His floor. But we also saw, I'm not going to ignore the sparks. We saw some things, man. That Tennessee game, even before he got injured, that Tennessee game, me and my brother were jumping up and down because we were both going crazy because I don't think we've ever seen a Jets quarterback ever with that kind of talent. Now, we've had great quarterbacks, but it's a different kind of talent that we have never seen in a Jets uniform before. The ability to run and throw off balance, like to be in the air throwing, but also as a rookie within his first month as an NFL player, to be being chased by a linebacker and to see his receiver and wave his receiver and literally take the role of captain of that offense and literally signal to his receiver and say, I got you, go. And then deliver and execute on it was absolutely my favorite play of the year.
Yep.
Without question.
That was the one that kept you coming back one more, listen, the arm talent on Zach is irrefutable. I mean, it's there,
Yeah.
We know what he can do outside the pocket, those off kilter kind of plays. That's great. Those plays like you're talking about, the Corey Davis touchdown, when Zach rolled out and juked the linebacker and kind of, off script got Corey Davis and hit him perfectly. I mean, those are the things that makes it keep coming. And those are the things that I hang on to that tells me that we have a talent here playing quarterback for us, as much as I loved, and I did, as much as I wanted to love Sam Darnold, as much as I love Sam Darnold, I think Zach Wilson's head and shoulders, technically, from top to bottom, a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. So, we have, like you said, we have something that we haven't had in a long time, and it's a lot of hope, it's a lot of talent. It seems like we have the right people leading this organization on the field and off the field. I mean, it's just a different time to be a Jets fan, man.
It's different times. And, we have a new person another person I'm not recognizing the name of, Hunts too, saying that 53-yard run. Yeah, that 53-yard run was amazing.
Absolutely.
Just unbelievable. Hunts too, if you're not sub, definitely sub to the channel, man. I'm getting so close to 500, and I'll have that community chat, community messages to the subscribers. It's going to be all the difference, guys. I'll be able to make announcements to you guys. So anybody who's not, please hit that sub button. David Gerard, it's great to see you. How are you, man? I hope you enjoyed the weekend in the draft. We went to having holes to a lot of great depth. Exactly. That's why I'm so excited. And I love what Friggle's saying, man. Yeah, pound that rock, baby. Pound that rock. Get that play action going. That's what this offense was built for. That's what's going to make us gain. That's what's going to make us jump that 10 points per game average. And I'm telling you, Atlanta did it under the system. Denver did it under the system. It's been proven time and time again. Year 2 of this system is night and day from year 1. Once it's a complex system, it's painful to put in. But once you get that baby rolling and you get the right personnel for it, it's the West Coast offense is proven for 30 years, 40 years right now.
Yep.
So it's people avoid it because it's complicated. It's complex, and you got to get the right kind of players for it.
Yeah, and it's different, Again, we're coming into year 2 of continuity. And I don't think there's enough to be said about that. Same coaching staff, same schemes, another year under our belts of more reps of knowing the schemes that we're going. I mean, I read something that said Zach Wilson really only ran about 60% of the offense that they had put in place. Now some of that was maybe his fault, being a rookie, being young. They didn't want to overwhelm him, but some of it was also, they could only do so much with the offense that they had around him. You know what I mean? Yep. That's what hurt Denzel. That's what hurt Denzel Mims, on top of being sick and the food poisoning and the COVID and this and that. He just struggled learning the system.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So
it was very, very clear, and it was very obvious with the penalties. He didn't know where to be on the field.
Yeah.
John Nolte, Salty Nuts. When we got Salty Nuts coming in saying we seriously turned the corner for this franchise, be excited, people. Be excited, because John Nolte is the opposite of a homer. He is not a homer. For him to say that, and for the amount of years he's been watching this team, that means something. That gave me chills to see John Nolte coming in and saying that. When he gets excited, it's real, man. He doesn't fall for the fake stuff. Yep. He's sensing it. He's feeling it. I love to see that. I love to see that we're all on board and we're all feeling it. Friggle D, I like Matt Mitchell a lot. Yeah, man. We were doing it. We were totally calling that. We were calling that in some of our mock drafts. We definitely liked him in that part of the draft. So we're excited about that. Philly had a great draft. Well, how could they not? They had the picks for it, and they got a good general manager. Philly, the Eagles. They're building a good team there for sure. Luckily, that's in the NFC, so we don't got to think or worry about them.
Yeah. See, I'll say this about Philly. I think, the AJ Brown acquisition was amazing. I'm really an AJ Brown fan, and I think that, if their quarterback kind of puts it together in regards to what he does through the air and not just with his legs, AJ Brown's only going to elevate that offense. I personally wasn't the greatest, they took some guys that weren't just my favorite in the class. Like, I was never a huge Jordan Davis guy, athletic freak. I get it. That big, that fast, that's fine. But he's still a 2-down. He's still a 2-down player. He's a 2-down, 0 tech, 1 tech, run stuffing tackle until he shows that he can, has the wherewithal to do more. Maybe he didn't have to do it in college, but the Georgia fans out there will tell you, he's a big man. but he only played, 30 some odd plays a game. That's all he
Yeah.
could last.
Yeah.
So not a fan. And then, who didn't like Nakobe Dean? Well, I guess 32 teams, because they kind of pushed him down into the third round. But, you can say that the steal of the draft, but there's a definite big injury flag there now. So who knows? And time will tell. We'll find out in 3 years right now, 3 years from now, if that move pays off and the Philly draft pays off.
What's up, Payo Time? We are very happy with the haul. Trust
Payo.
me, we are happy.
Dude, I love the Rams haul. That's a joke.
The Rams haul. Hey, they made some good picks at the end. They were picking their guys. We'll see what happens with them.
The tackle they got from Wisconsin is a real good ball player.
Yeah. It's going to help them with, and they need that. They like to, the run game and everything is important to them. They're a smart team. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
You always, they're one of those teams. That's where we're trying to be, right?
They are the best in the league right now.
How did the rest of the AFC East do in the draft? I thought they got some good guys. I thought Buffalo picked some guys that it was upsetting to me to see them.
I think Buffalo had a great draft.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo had a great draft. They brought in a one of my favorite corners in the draft. They traded up for Kaiir Elam. I mean, he's a little bit grabby, and he tends to, kind of have too many penalties. But I mean, he's athletic, he's fast, he's big. He can shut you down. He's gonna be the perfect complement on the other side over there. On top of that, I think they drafted their running back of the future, James Cook.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that we'll talk about Breece Hall later for sure. There's no question that, as much as people didn't think the position fit was there for that part of the draft, maybe it doesn't matter. Like, we have him now. We have Breece Hall. And, I don't even want to say the names I think about when I watch this kid run. But he runs like some of the great NFL running backs that I've grown up watching. He really does. He looks like he's hitting the floor hard with his feet, but fast. But he's pounding the ground with power. I love the way he runs. I love the way it looks when he runs. He really has his legs under him. And, man, does he hit people on first contact. Man, does he spin and look for more yards. And, boy, does he have, like, special instincts. I really love this kid.
So good.
Good. He's really special.
I think he's a bigger, more physical Le'Veon Bell. That's what I think Breece Hall is. It's a bigger, more physical Le'Veon Bell. The way he runs, I mean, he's always moving forward. Great contact. I mean, phenomenal contact balance. Takes a hit, keeps his balance. That's something that I really, really saw in Michael Carter last year, which I thought was phenomenal. Like, you can watch Michael Carter. It looked like a pinball in a pinball machine. You know what I mean? The way he just bounced around. Breece Hall does the same thing, except he's bigger, he's faster, and he's got that, like you said, he's got that long speed, man. Once he gets going, forget it, man. Forget it.
Yep, absolutely. And man, it's exciting.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And hey, look at that. We got Jets Fuel. I've never seen you before in the chat. Welcome, Jets Fuel. That's right, man. Let's go, dude. It's like we're finally going somewhere. It's happening, my brother. It's happening. We are doing this. This is real now. It's getting very real, and it makes me very nervous because now we're going to have games that matter and games where I'm going to feel very stressed. I haven't had to feel that kind of stress in a long time. And just from that overtime in Tennessee, that game, I know that's what's coming again. Like, feeling that stress of, like, my world's and week is going to be over if we lose. I can just sense that's going to happen to us. So, oh boy. Hunts 2 is being funny. The Patriots have the best draft, laughing out loud. The Jets, the Jets draft was so good and the Patriots draft was so bad, it's enough to make me think we could overcome them this year, possibly. Hey, Buffalo Jets fan says, get my man to 500. I just noticed, man, I don't know what's happening to the channel today, but I'm having an amazing day. So thank you to everyone who subbed today. I went from I was just saying I'm 35 away from 500. Now it looks like I'm like 12 away. So amazing. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, amazing. It's amazing. Just so you know, people who are new to the channel, when I get to 500 subs, I am giving away 5 Boycott the Beat t-shirts. There's going to be 5 winners, 5 Boycott the Beat t-shirts. That's the Matt O'Leary t-shirt. All the proceeds from those shirts go to the Children of St. Jude. So all that, the profit goes to a great cause. I'm also going to give away some really good stuff, some prizes. For my Star Wars and Star Trek geeks out there, I'm going to give away some action figures still in the package. For people who like to collect that, I'm going to give out some cards. It's going to be a great day. I'm also going to guzzle some hot sauce. So there's going to be
all these good things, plus he's guzzling hot sauce.
Plus I'm going to guzzle some serious hot sauce. And I'm doing it, man, to celebrate. It means so much to me, the support for them. So I want to just give people tons of things to be excited and happy about, because it's a big deal for me, man, to get to 500. It's a big deal. And I appreciate Buffalo Jets fan. I appreciate you, Dom C. Everybody who's been a part of this channel and everybody that's been watching, such a big part of it. So exciting. And I'm getting so close. So I appreciate it. And to all the new people that are here, thank you so much for joining. Be on board for this ride, baby, because this channel is for you. It's for everybody. That's why I try to highlight people's comments as much as possible. Try to call you out, try to get you involved, because this is really everybody's channel. So,
yeah.
So let me look. I think there's a comment I want to highlight. So let me find it here. So go by. Yeah, well, here we go. Right now, let's do that.
John, super kind, man. I didn't get any scouting gigs, but I will say this. And this is kind of I was very proud of it. I'm very excited for it. It's something that I've talked about doing, and everyone knows that I write for greenbeanjetsfan.com. I've kind of been his, I write a lot of the NFL draft content for him and do a lot of this stuff on the players. So through that, somebody has reached out to me, and for next year, I am going to be putting together and more to come on this. I don't know how much details I can give on, or how much I should, or how much I couldn't, but I'm going to be putting together or having a big hand in the draft guide that's going out that details all the a bunch of the prospects going out. It should be out, probably around the, January, February of next year, just to kind of get that deep dive stuff going into next year's draft. So, the little things that I have been doing and some of that stuff it's starting to pay off. So I'm pretty stoked for it, man. Not trying to sit here on a soapbox or anything like that, because it ain't nothing that I wouldn't do anyway. But it's nice to know that the stuff that you do, and these guys who are all the content creators here, the Jeremys, the Buffalo Jets fans, the Tigos, and everyone else who does it, man, they know it's nice when you get the recognition. And I might not have my own channel, but I kind of sort of have found my little niche in this.
Yeah, and you'll always have a home here with me, man. You'll never lose.
Well, I got a Sunday night partner, and
and more whenever you want it. You know that I got your back anytime you want to be on, and I got your back forever, dude.
Absolutely, and just by guys like Jeremy and starting to a couple years ago starting to write for Green Bean, it's turned out to take something that I do anyway and that I'm passionate about and putting it out there. And you guys can read it and you guys can agree with it, or you can tell me I'm fucking crazy, but that's the fun of it, man. Yeah. And I will say, Jeremy, on this channel with all these guys here, I told you Derek Stingley would be the first cornerback taken.
You did, man. You did. He didn't fall like everyone thought. He really came back right at the end. Within like 10 days before the draft, he started to make that comeback.
Yeah.
I guess it started getting out there that he was healthy and looking good or something.
Yeah, man.
So Sammy Felice says, new sub, great content. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, my man. And keep participating in the chat. If there's anything you ever want to see, we'll get to it. We're going to talk about Michael Clemens any second now. We haven't gotten to that. We planned to it so much sooner, and we didn't.
Yeah, no.
I promised it in the title of the thing, and I know you did some research on him. So
yeah, listen, as I told you, and again, full disclosure to the chat, I didn't do a lot, because he's just not a guy. Listen, I got a full-time job. where I'm on the road a lot. I got 3 kids, I got a wife. So, I can't spend 10, 12, 14 hours a day researching every single prospect. So full disclosure, when I was, going over all my defensive linemen, my edges and stuff like that, Michael Clemens was not a guy I spent any time on, and frankly, he's a guy that I didn't even really even consider looking at. And it wasn't, it was just that you can only take things to such levels or such depths. So, once he picked us though, I started doing my, my research and my analysis, and so I applaud, I invite all you guys in the chat who have probably, done your digging on there, to please chime in on this as well. Cause I'm just going to give you the tidbits of what I saw, First and foremost, the thing about Michael Clemens that's very, very, like I said, where I see that fit in Saleh, Ulbrich defense, what he's going to do is his length. He's a big guy, 6'5", 260 some odd pounds, long arms, over a 7-foot wingspan, 35-inch arms. So he's got that length that you want in that, in that defensive end. Super, super strong hands. You know what I mean? He gives the pop. Forget those offensive linemen. He's also got very, very strong hips, leg drive. So, he's got a power. He's got that power rush mentality. But that's not just it. He does have a very good repertoire of pass moves. He's not like a one-trick pony. He goes in there. He's got a really, really lethal dip and rip, which is something that, you look for in the defensive ends, a la Bruce Smith. Remember how Bruce Smith used to run? He used to just get in there, boom, dip that shoulder and go. I saw that in Michael Clemens a lot. So very, very good. He plays in space well. For a big guy, he can move laterally very well. That's what I saw. There's obviously some negatives to his game as well. I think he's coming into this league where he's going to be strictly on pass sets because he's not very strong at, he's not very strong in his edge setting. Plays a little high at times, can get eaten up. So the run stuffing aspect or the run defense is going to have to improve for him to become a true 3-down player. Like I said, I think he's going to be scheme specific right now. He's the guy that you're going to bring in on pass sets, on the nickel and dime stuff. I think he can line up at the edge and pin his ears back and go get the quarterback. Obviously, we all know he's got some personal issues, right? Got a marijuana charge, and in this day and age, is that even a big thing anymore? I don't know. But more so, he's got some gun charges or something that was, a little bit more concerning to me than the marijuana stuff. But I can't imagine that they didn't vet that stuff through and through to make sure that everything was going to be free and clear. And on top of that, he's a transfer. He's a JUCO guy who transferred in, had a COVID year, so on and so forth. So he's an older prospect. He's going to be 25 by the time the season starts, So that window that you have of development is really shortened, which is very interesting to me, because they must see or have an idea that he's going to fit a specific role for this team and he can do it very quickly, because I don't think they would have spent the fourth round draft capital on a guy that they think is going to need, 3 or 4 years of development before he can really contribute. I just clicked on something here. Hang on one second. Let me close that. Sorry. So I think that they have in their eyes and what they saw was something that he can come in and contribute right away. And from what I saw, maybe he's our Vinnie Curry. Vinnie Curry's here for a year, but Vinnie Curry is also very, very old. Maybe he's the guy that comes in and steps into that role. On top of that, I didn't watch. I watched very, very, very limited actual games on this guy. But what I did see is him get completely 100% annihilated and neutralized against Evan Neal, which was a little disheartening. So I can't. Listen again. Full disclosure. Truth be told, I can't tell you that he only plays good against poor competition because I haven't watched a lot of it. I'm as green to Michael Clemens as you guys are. So, but I did see that, and not one pressure obtained, not one win, not one pass rush win against Evan Neal. Evan Neal ate his lunch.
Yeah, but Evan Neal ate a lot of people's lunch. He
True.
held
You're
Walker.
absolutely right about
He held
that.
Walker. It wasn't a ton of plays man to man, but he held Walker down too, who's the number one pick of the draft. So
yeah. So like I said, I again, this is just my thinking, is that they have an idea. You're bringing in a 25, going to be 26 going to be 25-year-old rookie. So, they have a plan. I think that they say, hey, listen, we're going to have a short window with him. We know that he can come in and do this. And if you watch his highlights, if you watch his tape, you see what he can do when he pins his ears back and gets after the quarterback. He's skilled. He's got it. He doesn't have, he's not that, bendy, ridiculously sparky, twitchy athlete like the Kayvon Thibodeaux of the world, so on and so forth. But, he's got a plan when he rushes the passer, and he's very effective at it. And it's multifaceted. He's got a bull rush. He's strong enough to bull rush with those strong hands and good levers on the bottom. He's got a plethora, spin moves, rips, and so on and so forth. He knows how to get after the quarterback. So that's my idea, is that they have a plan for him, and that plan probably is something in terms of a pass rush specialist, a la Vinnie Curry when Vinnie Curry's gone.
Yeah. So my brother has been following me since 1970. It's true. I gummed him. I think I was 2 days old, and I gummed him. First thing I did was try to bite his finger off. So I started the sibling rivalry on that one. I have to take full responsibility for that. He's been giving me grief and making fun of me and making me look like a clown ever since. 9 away. I'm not even looking, so I'm afraid to look. Okay, so that sounds great. Look, I love the player comp to Vince Curry. That would be a huge success for where he got drafted.
Also,
if he could be a Vince Curry.
Vinnie Curry, maybe I'm trying to think, maybe like a Preston Smith, even though Preston Smith was more of an outside linebacker, a 3-4 outside linebacker, but a guy who really excelled in pass sets and kind of faded away or wasn't there, in the straight run sets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I think about him. More. I can't say that I'm all that skilled and all that in tune to his game, because I just haven't watched a lot of them.
Jets Fuel, to answer your question, I was hoping we could get to 7 wins to 9 wins. Now I'm feeling like we're gonna get 7 to 9 wins, and maybe better, but I'm not gonna predict that. I'm just gonna say I feel more confident than ever that we're gonna get to the 7 to 9 win window. Like, I think we're gonna get there. I really do. I think we can upset teams now. I'm not so scared of every team. We were talking a few weeks ago, like, oh, Seattle, and acting like we're gonna lose that game. Why? They don't got a quarterback. Why can't we beat Seattle now? Now I'm looking at our team and I'm thinking, we can beat Seattle. Are you kidding me? Let's just own the football. Let's control time of possession. And whoever's playing for them, let's pressure the hell out of them. Let's get JJ on them. Let's get Carl Lawson on them. Let's get Curry on them. Let's get this new kid Clemens on them. Let Q Williams stuff the run. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Why should we be afraid to play Seattle?
Yeah, I'm not afraid to play Seattle. Listen, I'm not afraid to go up to Buffalo and punch them right in the nose either. I'm not afraid of that either. I'm confident I'll go to war with any team. We might lose a battle. You know what I mean? We might lose a battle or two here or there. But this team that we're putting together, I don't fear anybody.
How old are you, Charles B, that I could be your son? I'm pretty old. I'm an old guy. So I don't know. Unless you talk about Jeremy Ruckert.
Yeah.
So who do you want to talk about next?
Listen, you brought up Rucker. Let's talk Rucker.
Let's talk about Jeremy Ruckert. I just want to start before you go. You know that's my guy.
Yes.
As far as tight ends, I was a Trey McBride guy, and then Ruckert came on late for me, and I caught on. And it was very even with me. I love that Trey McBride is a receiving tight end, but Rucker to me was the better all around, like because of the run blocking, and because of what we could do with him in our offense. So, and that show's coming out at midnight tonight, so people will be able to watch that video as soon as they want. You could see my real natural reactions to every draft pick. But go ahead and take it from, rather than me just watching highlights and watching some of the games. Let's hear your more professional analysis.
Oh well, listen, I don't know about professional, but I'll give you my honest take. And
well, I'm going to send you a few bucks for doing this, so technically that's professional.
That's all I can offer is my honest take. Listen, I was on the 24/7 live stream on Saturday, right in that third round kind of area. No, was it third round, fourth round, right around there? I was on there, and we got talking, and they said, I was talking with Ryan and Matt and Bean and all those guys, and I said there's two guys that there's one guy that I really thought we were going to soak up with that 101 pick. The guy I really targeted, and I thought the Jets were targeted because everything that I read and I heard that they really liked the player as well was Channing Tindall, the linebacker, who ended up going one pick later to Miami. So I said he was going to be the guy for the Jets. I said, if the sentimental guy in me really would love to see Jeremy Rucker make the team here. Like there's nothing more, there was nothing more inspiring or really kind of like touching than to see a Jets fan get, somebody who roots for a team from way down yonder get drafted by the team. I was telling my wife, like, that's probably a sports fan's ultimate, like any kid that plays sports, that's probably your number one ultimate dream. So like the sentimental in me wanted to see Jeremy Rucker make the Jets. I didn't really think they were going to take him there, but I was definitely rooting for him. And I get why they took him. He wasn't my favorite tight end on the board. I had a couple guys that I liked over him. I was very, very well into Trey McBride. I thought Trey McBride was excellent. I also kind of pegged, put my my money on the horse of Jelani Woods way back when. I watched him play a lot, and I really, really liked what that guy did. Jeremy Ruckert is a great football player. He's big, 6'5", 6'6", probably 250, 260, something like that. He's a very, very good athlete for a guy that big. Above average. He's not elite, but he's definitely above average. But he's your prototypical inline tight end. That's where his bread and butter is going to be. He's going to be the Y. He's not going to be the F. Think of Kenny Yeboah as the F, the guy who's flexed out in the slot, the big slot, running the full the full route of pass routes and so on and so forth. Jeremy Ruckert's going to be your more traditional inline tight end. He's got great height, weight, speed for that position. He's a very, very aggressive, very willing, and an exceptional blocker. He plays competitive. He plays tough. There's not a lot that you don't like about Jeremy Ruckert. His, big hands, big, large catch radius, and very, very good hands. The problem was he wasn't utilized a lot in Ohio State. Didn't have to be. You know what I mean? Think of the wide receivers that they had on the field at any time. Think about the quarterback that they had there. Think about the plethora of running backs that have just come in there and kicked ass. You know what I mean? So, he had his role. He played his role very well. Doesn't negate the fact that when he needed to, he couldn't make plays because he did. He just wasn't asked to do them a lot, which makes me think that he's one of those guys that is going to be a much better pro than he was in college. The scheme, kind of put him in place in college. And I think he's probably a better player than that scheme allowed him to be, So if given the opportunity, he's going to come out, and I think he's going to kick ass. Now, listen, is he the perfect prospect? No. He tends to get over aggressive at times and sometimes a little bit sloppy with it. When they talk about, when you talk about balance, you don't want to get accustomed to playing too far back on your heels, because you become susceptible to quick moves or spins or stunts or so on and so forth. And you don't also want to you don't want to play too far on your toes. And that's what Jeremy Ruckert does. He tends to lean too much. He tends to get caught leaning, and that's not that great. And a lot of that is when he's dealing with bigger ends or linebackers that are up on the line in that 1v1 kind of blocking. So there's some improvement that needs to be made there. Like I said, there's not a lot of college production, so we don't really know the type of athlete or the type of tight end that he can be. He also, in college, he limited catches, limited route tree. Ohio State didn't ask the tight end to do too much. So, he can find the holes in the zone with those short little in-cutting routes or those curls or those hooks to find, in the zone. But he's never been asked to really, break off and beat a linebacker, beat a linebacker on a go or up the seam or anything like that. So I'm not saying that he can't do it. He's just, we haven't seen it, but they said a lot of the same things. And I know my comp is going to be very aggressive here. All right. So maybe the chat's going to kill me. Maybe not. I see a lot of George Kittle. And what I like about that, George Kittle, if you go back and look at his numbers, he wasn't, George Kittle was a 5th round pick for a reason, while also not a lot of college production, so on and so forth, getting your fit, they talked about his grittiness and his competitiveness and his ability to produce when asked to. He just wasn't asked to, that's what I see a lot in Jeremy Ruckert. So I love the way our tight end room looks like right now. Uzama is, you can tell that guy is going to be a leader in that room. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I love the idea that he can just sit back and let, the other 2 guys that we brought in kind of run the show. We can be free of Uzama after 2 years when he'll be 31 years old, pretty much scot-free, just enough time to kind of learn and develop and become our regular, everyday wide tight end. I think sky's the limit for the kid.
Yep. Now I saw Clemens in a game get 3.5 sacks, but it wasn't against Alabama, right?
No.
Yeah, I saw in the highlights there was a game where he got 3.5 sacks, but not against Alabama.
He did not have one pressure against Alabama.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was a game where he completely dominated someone, and I'm forgetting who it was. There, I watched some of his highlights, and I heard the announcer on one of his sacks saying that was like the second sack of the half, or he already had 1.5 sacks, and that was like, so he had 2.5 in the first half. I was like, oh, good, he gets hot and he can dominate a game. There were some people asking about his motor. I don't think it's going to matter in our defense so much because the whole idea is he's going to rotate and be a rotational piece for now. But we'll see. We'll see about his motor. He looks good, man. Like, he looks like a guy that's very fit. Like, he doesn't
Clemens,
look like
you're talking.
Clemens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeremy Rucker is definitely going to be, I mean,
and somebody, I think Friggle's talking about it. Listen, I told you, I don't know if it was Friggle or somebody, I told you the Kittle thing might be a little aggressive, but like, I see I just see the comparisons in them.
Right.
You can say Dalton Schultz, you can say Pat Freiermuth, but I think Pat Freiermuth is baby Kittle. I think Pat Freiermuth's, trajectory could be George Kittle as well.
Yeah.
So, 6 of one, half dozen another,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the guy's going to be all world.
Right.
And when you throw a name out like George Kittle, I guess that's what you're expecting, but their games are very, very similar.
Yeah.
Their game style and their style of play is very, very similar. Kittle might be, a little bit more, a little bit more astute or have more pass catching chops, especially in regard to the route trees. But, I don't know if Kittle had that when he came in. I don't know if he came into the NFL with that. I don't think he did. That was learned behavior, and that's what I'm expecting from Rucker.
Hey, I'm stupid. I'm reading Stupid Fat Fingers from Diff Jen. I'm actually, I know the feeling. It's hard to say, even though you feel it. Sometimes it's hard to say the names of these great players, but we're not predicting they'll be those great players. We're just saying we could see some of it in them, and somebody is going to be those great players. That's what people don't understand. Someone is. There's going to be another Kittle in the league. There's going to be another Kelsey in the league. It's going to happen. right? It might not be this year. It might be next year. So someone's going to do it. And what we're saying is we think there's a chance it could be our someone. Like, I feel the same way about Breece Hall. When I talk about Breece Hall, I'm afraid to say the name of who I think he could be. And I mean it in production. Like, there are some names that are popping into my head when I watch him with that number 28 that I can't get out of my head. And I'm thinking, is it possible? Because I'm that excited about him. And of course, if I say the name, you're crazy, you're nuts. But someone's going to be that. There's going to be running backs that reach that level. There always is. Over the years of football, we have superstars. And I'm just saying Breece Hall might be the guy that when other people say, oh, he could be the next Breece Hall, you're going to say, you're crazy. Like, what makes you think that? I think Breece Hall might be one of those guys. Remember, in a different time period, he's the number one quarterback on the board. They used to go in the top 10. There used to be 3, 4, 5 running backs picked in the top.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
This guy is special. He's like in 1988, 1987, he'd be a top 10 pick in the draft. We're getting that kind of quality out of this kid. He's special. Just don't watch the highlights. I'm watching games. Like, I'm literally watching full games, and I'm fast forwarding to the offense, and I'm telling you, this kid is insane. He's so good. Did you see the catch he made? I'm forgetting against who. He made some crazy one-handed catch like he was Odell Beckham. It was insane. So he's also a great athlete, and he makes superstar-type plays.
Yeah, and the one thing, like I said, about Breece Hall, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit more, because everyone has their own opinion or their comp, and comps, even the ones that I give are just opinions. They're just what you see, and what I see in a prospect, Jeremy, you might see differently, and what you see, Salty Nuts might see differently, and and so on and so forth. But there's certain aspects that your eye, when you're watching a guy play, whether it's highlights or film or whatever you're watching, kind of catches. And I talked about what I think when I talked about Breece Hall being a bigger Le'Veon Bell. It's because you see the patience that this guy has behind the line of scrimmage. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? The patience that he has. And then when he hits the hole and gets going, that's when I see the Jonathan Taylor, stuff. So on and so forth. So, you can take 3 or 4 guys and kind of mold them together, and this is what you're going to get. Man.
I don't know what's happening here. I mean, we have we're between we've been hanging around 35 to 40 in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I keep reading that my subs are going up. I don't know if the people who are getting in here are new, but I appreciate whoever's coming in here and subbing. I really appreciate it. It's like the biggest compliment you could pay us, because I know there's tons of channels out there, and hitting that sub button. I know for me as a viewer, I watch sometimes a bunch of videos of one person before I'll actually hit the sub button. So I appreciate it, and we'll keep trying to produce the best content we can. It just shows how good you're doing, Dom, because you're really the star of this show.
Oh,
so
man.
I appreciate what you're doing right now for me, man. So we talked about Ruckert, Jeremy Rucker.
Let's talk about Breece Hall, since we're talking about him now. Let's bring him
that's what I'm saying. We may as well go deeper into Breece Hall, because it's just happening naturally in the chat and through conversation. That's the name of this show, really. The title is Breece Hall a potential superstar? So let me pass it over to you with that question. Is Breece Hall a potential superstar?
Listen, that's a lofty goal. He's a very, very, very talented football player that I am elated to have on my team. I don't know if I can say anyone who hasn't stepped foot on an NFL, gridiron is a superstar. I'm not going to anoint him that yet, but I'll say this much: there's no other running back out of that class that I'd rather have on my team than Breece Hall, and that goes with my true love, my Gator pride for Dameon Pierce, and I love that guy. I think Dameon Pierce is going to be a great ball player. Breece Hall was my number one, hands down. Higher than Kenny Walker, higher than Dameon Pierce, higher than any other running backs. In what I thought was really not the best running back class, in recent years. Breece Hall was head and shoulders above everyone else. We talked about it. Size, speed, fit, a perfect fit for the offense. I think he's about 5'11", 6 feet tall, 215, 220 pounds, runs in the 4.3s, 4.39, I think was his official time. Super light on his feet, wonderful contact balance, vision. Like that's what I got from Breece Hall and watching all the film as I did time after time about him. The vision that he has, to find the holes, to read the blocks, to see exactly what was going on. The patience he has, those are all the Le'Veon Bell traits that I really, really took from watching Breece Hall. Now, at Iowa State, if anyone here is a Big Ten fan, what Iowa State's mantra on offense was. Jeremy, do you know what their mantra on offense was?
I don't. I don't think Iowa.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
Give the damn ball to Breece Hall and let him go. Because you got a guy like that, you just give him the ball and let him work. So he has a lot. He's got a lot more miles, on the tires than some of these other guys that are coming out. But he carried the load, man. 20 touchdowns last year, and I'm reading that now. So 1,472 yards, 20 touchdowns, 36 receptions for 300 yards with another 3 touchdowns. A very willing and very active, and not afraid to put his nose in there in pass pro. Soft hands, a very, very, very good receiver. I think that's wonderful. Like, him with the ball skills that they have as receivers, both him and Michael Carter. I mean, this offense is going to be freaking ridiculous. I'm worried. The one thing that I'm worried about him, like I said, he's got a lot of tread on those tires. And running backs have the shortest window of opportunity in the league, right? It's that old mantra of wash, rinse, and repeat, right? Take a running back, get what you can from him in the next 3 or 4 years, throw him out the window. Not many running backs get those big money second, third contracts, right?
Right.
The time. I mean, they take a lot of abuse and a lot of punishment, and he's got a lot of tread on those tires. Oh, I'm getting a little echo here.
Yeah, that was my fault. Don't worry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Not you. That was me.
That's okay. But I just love the vision that the kid has. I love his one cut and go mentality, and he's quick, he's agile, and he's got that long speed. There's no better running back in this class. I'm surprised that he's a Jet. I'm elated that at the same time, I'm elated he's a Jet. And I think everyone in the chat can probably say the same thing, right? There's nobody here that I shouldn't say that. I'm assuming there's nobody here that expected Breece Hall to be our pick at 38. Yes, we traded up to 36 to get him, but we had 38 at the time. I don't think there's anybody here at the time that thought that Breece Hall was going to be the pick at 38. I know I didn't. I'm elated to have him though, because if we're going to continue, if we're going to continue in that Shanahan offensive mentality of what LaFleur did in San Francisco, they want to rotate those running backs. The two big things: they rotate their defensive linemen and they rotate their running backs. You know what I mean? So now we have two legitimate weapons. And they play a little bit different, and they play a lot similar. They play very similar to one another. But they are two legitimate weapons. And there's been this big controversy. Maybe controversy is not the right word, but there's been a lot of back and forth on Twitter. It's who's the number one running back? Is it Michael Carter? Is it Breece Hall? I'm going to tell you this. Who cares? You know, they're both going to touch the ball. They're both going to be an integral part to what our our offense does this year. And I'm happy to have both of them. Breece Hall is legit. You know, I hold back from calling him a superstar yet. I want to see what he does, you know, on the field before I anoint him that. You know, but he's probably the best piece we've had in our backfield, you know, that I remember, you know, maybe since Curtis Martin, you know.
Yeah. Hey, you said something about, what do they say in Iowa State? You know, in the state of Iowa, they say, you know, give Breece Hall the ball.
That's right.
Well, I was
Give
watching
Reece a chance. You know that song? That's
well, I watched the midseason, you know, HBO special Hard Knocks with the Colts, and every fan after one of their losses was screaming, "Just give Jonathan Taylor the ball!"
Yeah.
They were so mad at the coach. I think that if he got fired, it would have been because of that game, not the game they lost to Jacksonville, because he wouldn't give him the ball. He kept passing and passing, and the fans in the crowd in the show that were mic'd up, they were micing people up saying, "Why isn't he giving Jonathan Taylor the ball? We don't understand. Nobody can stop it."
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny that you said that about Breece Hall, because that's what everyone's comping him to. They're comping him to Jonathan Taylor. And what an amazing thing it would be for us, because by getting Laken Tomlinson, we're starting to build that kind of offensive line. So can you imagine? Because they didn't have a Zach Wilson. They didn't have a quarterback with the ceiling of Zach Wilson that could be as special as Zach Wilson, who had the legs, the running game of Zach Wilson. So imagine Zach Wilson with this weapon, with the offensive line and weapon of a running attack that's just unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then having those new tight ends and Rucker joining these tight ends and Garrett Wilson with Elijah Moore. It's going to be insane. This might be the best offense we've ever had. Within the next couple of years, we might become and see the best offense ever from the Jets.
It's nice to really have. I don't know if you feel the same. Well, I think you feel the same way. I think any Jet fan feels the same way. It's nice to really have, like, it's an overused term, but it's nice to really have, like, you know, blue chippers in the house. You know what I mean? Instead of just these makeshift guys who might turn out to be good or so on and so forth. Even Michael Carter, you know, and this is no disrespect to Michael Carter, because I really love him as a football player, you know, but didn't have that blue chip kind of status. You know what I mean? He was a fourth round guy who we liked, who ended up being really good. You know, I love him, you know, but we don't ever have these blue chippers, you know, and that's what Breece Hall is. He's the best, arguably the best running back in the class. Some might make the argument for Kenny Walker, you know, and I think you can make a valid argument for that. I'll choose Breece Hall. Like I said, the patience and the vision that he has is going to work so well in our zone blocking scheme. It's set up for him perfectly. It's a perfect fit. The most perfect fit to our scheme than any of our other draft picks. That includes Sauce Gardner. That it rivals Sauce Gardner. That includes Jermaine Johnson. That includes Michael Clemens. That includes everyone. There's probably no better schematic fit that we took than Breece Hall.
Yep. And Najee Skinner, never seen you in the chat before.
Najee.
Welcome. Everybody, welcome Najee. Repping NWO, New World Order. No one could have predicted Hall going to us. Yeah, I mean, I wanted him to go to us, but I always thought it was a luxury pick if we would have traded back and loaded up with a bunch of extra picks. That was how I did it in all my mocks. I'd say, well, with this extra second round pick, we're going to grab Breece Hall. That's our luxury pick. I never dreamed that we
I was
trading away one of our second round picks.
When we were up on the clock, you know, before we made the trade up, I was really, really, like, I had my heart set on securing or fixing that safety. I really, really loved Jalen Petrie. He was one of my guys. I was hoping that he was going to be the guy at that pick. And then Breece Hall's name was coming up, and I was like, holy shit. I wasn't I wasn't shocked. I mean, I was shocked the fact that we spent that capital right there on a running back, but I was automatically elated because I've done my homework and I knew the prospect that we just brought on the floor. You know what I mean?
I just want to say good night to Aunt Gina. Good night, Aunt Gina.
Good night,
Thanks
Aunt
for being
Gina.
here.
We'll see you.
We love you. Okay. Man. So yeah, it's my God. I've never seen the Jet world so united and so happy together. It's such a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's so real. So we talked about Michael. I always draw a blank on his last name because I'm still getting used to this guy. Clemens, Michael Clemens. We talked about Jeremy Ruckert. We talked
What about the other fourth rounder? What about Max Mitchell?
Yeah, let's talk about Max Mitchell, and then I think we're almost to a point where we could jump into the first round and talk about our first rounders.
Yeah. So Max Mitchell was a guy who, if you watched, or if you watched us, if you watched any of these, predictive mock drafts, or did your own, messed around on simulators, if you waited a little bit, Max Mitchell was always one of those tackles that you just kind of lent to. You know what I mean? Max Mitchell had at some point, pre-combine, he had legit second round, teams had, not teams, but people had him falling right around that late second round area. Max Mitchell got, he got eaten up pretty hard at the combine. He got pretty, he didn't show well at the Senior Bowl. He tested. I was shocked for the Max Mitchell pick, for the reason that he's kind of the antithesis of the guys that Joe Douglas seems to like. Max Mitchell had a RAS score of like 3. Very, very, very unathletic in regards to your normal, testing, but he's got the bones to play the position. Super, super agile. He's big. He's tall. I think he can stay at tackle. I think he's absolutely going to stay at tackle. He played right around 290 pounds in college at Louisiana, and I think he's going to, he defines developmental tackle. You know what I mean? And that's fine. I think that's exactly what we need. He doesn't have to come in there and play. You give him a couple years to get bigger, to get stronger, to learn the system, so on and so forth. But he's got the chops. He's fast, in short speed, 10-yard, 20-yard. He can get into that second level. He's astute. He's tuned into our zone blocking scheme. They ran a lot of outside zones at Louisiana. So I think that's why they really kind of lean towards him. I see him turn his hips. He uses his body well to wall off blockers, but he just doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the chutzpah to really bowl over guys. You know what I mean? As one of my favorite sayings, he's still a little light in the ass,
Right.
He's gonna need to put some time in and build a stronger lower half so he can really anchor and knock some people down. So listen, like I said, if you want to call that a negative, absolutely. He's not strong enough yet. He's developmental. He's going to have to still learn. I think personally, I think he's going to be solely a right tackle. I just don't think he's got the footwork to handle left tackle, and maybe that's, ideally the swing tackle can hop back and forth, but how our team is made up right now, we have 2 tackles that can handle left and right in both George Fant and Mekhi Becton. We still have Chuma Edoga on a contract for 1 more year who can both play left and right. My guess is that the draft of Max Mitchell isn't necessarily to replace George Fant or Mekhi Becton, probably to replace Chuma Edoga as that swing tackle, but we all know what, we all know the injury statuses of our tackles hasn't been so great over the past couple of years, so yeah. Hopefully he doesn't get forced into action faster than he does, but listen, with a little bit of work and in another couple 2-3 years, I think Max Mitchell can be a player.
Yep. So I want to welcome Anthony Lamont to the stream. First time I've seen you here. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. Make sure you hit the subscriber button, really close to 500. We're all excited about that. And that brings me to one thing before a little pause in the show, just to say that one of the giveaways that I'll be giving when I hit 500, which will probably be by Wednesday, so Wednesday might be the 500 celebration night, is a Magic Johnson basketball card. It's a mint condition collectible card. Yeah, Magic Johnson. It is a Fleer metal card. It's a good one. It's a good one. I don't look up the values of these, but like I check them out to make sure that I'm not giving away an $800 card or anything crazy. But it's a nice collectible. If you're a basketball fan, who doesn't want Magic Johnson? Who doesn't want his basketball card? Again, it's in mint condition. It's one of the things I'll be giving away to one of my subscribers that helped me get to 500. So just so everybody out there knows, there'll be some other giveaways too that night. I'm getting really close. So I appreciate it all, guys. So, yep, man, it was the greatest Jets draft. It was my favorite in all my years, and it definitely feels like Christmas, my friend. Also, I want to welcome Marist Old Boys, who liked and subscribed. So we're 496 now. Let's get this guy to 500. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know what's happening tonight. It's like a magical night. It's been a magical weekend. So why not, right?
They want to come here and learn and hear about our draft picks, man.
Yeah. So hey, man, it's just fantastic. So Max Mitchell, man, it's exciting. It's and that's what we want out of him. We want depth. Like it's not like one of those guys that we're thinking we need to be a starting better than average great tackle in the league. That's not the pick for Max Mitchell. Is we need security. We need to know that if a guy goes down, a guy gets hurt, that we have reliable backups who can come in and do the job. If Max Mitchell one day was a starter and got good enough that he could fill that role and be a starter and play right tackle.
Not outlandish. It's not an outlandish thought. I'm sure it could happen. Just that can't happen next year.
Right.
He's still, like I said, he's still got some work to do. He definitely is. His foot. He needs improvement on his footwork, especially in his pass sets. And like I said, more than anything, he just needs to get a little bit stronger, Yeah. Get a little stronger. So
unbelievable. So it's exciting. So look, we've covered the fourth round. We covered the third round. In the second round, we got Breece Hall. So that brings us to the final three in any order. I mean, I think we should just start with 497. I think we should start with Sauce. Okay, so I think we need to start with Sauce.
I mean, listen,
I'm going to make a prediction right now about Sauce. Okay?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
It's going to be the number one selling jersey in the NFL this year.
What number is he wearing is the question. Has that been announced? Does anybody in the chat know? Have they announced numbers yet? Because I know, if I'm not mistaken, DJ Reed wore number 1 as well. I'm assuming Sauce wants number 1.
It would be interesting if he wore number 1. I don't. I know that Zach Wilson didn't like the font of number 1. Like he didn't like the way it looked, and this means a lot to young players. Like they want, they gotta like it. They gotta like the jersey. They gotta like it and think it looks fresh. I mean, like what they say about Oregon, right? The Ducks. They say what made them a great team and turned their recruiting around was the cool uniforms, and it's not. I mean, you got to realize these are kids. Yeah. When they come to college, especially they're 17, 18, you got, they see a uniform that's just fat, like just blows the other uniforms away. They're like, I want some of that, but like, so he might be influenced by that. He might see the one who's just like Zach did and say, that's not cool, man. That's not good. I don't like the look of that jersey. So, or he might, I don't think it's going to matter. I think whatever number he's going to wear, he's going to make cool. Yeah. Whatever number he's going to wear, he's going to make the number that every young cornerback or thousands and thousands of high school kids are going to copy whatever number he wears, because he's that kind of guy. He's magnetic and special in every way. As an athlete, as a player,
he's got a polarizing personality for sure. And did anyone else catch when Goodell announced him, that he announced him as Sauce Gardner, not Ahmad Gardner?
Well, I mean, our coach got on the phone and went, Sauce.
So listen, I don't have to tell you guys much about Sauce Gardner. Everyone knows, who he is and what he is. He was, for some, arguably the best cornerback in the draft. I love the player, and I don't say this disrespectfully. He wasn't my number one, but I was just that. I'm a big fan of Derek Stingley and what he and the intangibles and so on and so forth. Not going to say I'd rather have Stingley over this guy. When I'm sitting there and on my big board and when I'm ranking them, I thought Stingley was the CB1, excuse me. But I'm more than happy to have Sauce Gardner as a Jet. I think he's a better scheme fit for our defense than Stingley would have been. Their skills kind of are a little bit different. But I don't have to tell you much about Sauce. You guys all know that he hasn't let up touchdowns. You guys all know that he shut down complete halves, complete sides of the field. You all know that, he won, Kobe Bryant, the award for National Defensive Back of the Year. I mean that wholeheartedly. Kobe Bryant got such such notarization because everyone threw at him, and he stepped up to the plate because no one addressed anything with Sauce Gardner, 6'3", 195 pounds, 4.4 speed, plays like a dog, and I'm going to steal that line from Buffalo, my buddy, Buffalo Jets fan, who always says that, plays like a dog. This guy has that mentality. He gets in you, and there's no quitting him, man. He has the smoothest, silkiest hips that I've seen in a long time. He breaks out of his back pedal as good as anybody in this league. He's rangy. You know what I mean? He can, I've seen him get beat. He's got some flaws. I see he's susceptible to the double move sometimes, but he has that makeup speed, that he can correct that stuff. Phenomenal, good short burst, short speed, quickness, agility, breaks on balls. He's a former wide receiver. So he's got ridiculous ball skills, great hands, excellent vision, sees plays develop, jumps on routes because he knows exactly what's going to come on, and he baits quarterbacks, when they look his way, he baits them. I mean, he's great, He is a little slight, 6'3", 190 pounds, 185 pounds, so he's a little bit slight. I think that's going to hinder him in his physicality at the point of tackling. He's not afraid to get his nose in there, but he's no Trent McDuffie, that's for sure. He's no Jalen Petrie, that's for sure. Those guys are sure, sound tacklers. That's not Sauce Gardner. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this. I read a lot, and you guys in the chat probably as well. People have to put some things that are like, room for improvement or negatives about a player. I'll tell you this. The one thing that I read about Sauce Gardner was a lot of people questioned, the level of competition that he faced at Cincinnati. I just don't. I don't. I don't care if he was playing Dixie State or if he was playing, the Oakland Raiders. The guy just comes to work and produces. And I watched him shut down, Jameson Williams before Jameson Williams got hurt. You watch him, he steps up when the competition steps up, he steps up as well. I think he's going to be phenomenal in our defense. I love the fact that, our outside, our boundary corners now look like, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Breece Hall and hopefully Brendan Eccles, takes that next step, because he had flashes as well. Like we have some legitimate bodies back there now. You know what I mean? And no, I don't think he's going to flop and roll sides. I think he's going to stay home. That's what our defense calls for. He can play press man with the best of them, but he can also play off man and in that deep zone as well. Or even in the short zone and really excel. Like this is a special player. Again, another one who I was completely shocked when his name was called, but so happy after the fact. Elated the fact that we have this guy on our team. I want to ask Pete's take something, okay?
I don't know how old he is or, who this person is. Okay. But I assume you have a mother and a father. When your mother and father ask you what kind of day you had, do you say, yeah, I had a great day? I went on to somebody's YouTube into their stream and told them that their team sucks for no reason because that's what makes me happy. That's what I want to do with my Sunday. I want to go in and tell somebody that their team sucks because they're having fun talking about their team and talking about their draft. And is that what your father wanted for you? Is that what makes him proud of you? Oh,
Listen,
my son was able to go to a site and troll some people. Is this what your life is? I'm just wondering, is that your life? Is that what makes your life? I'm just wondering about the motivation because I've never in my life went into a stream and told a bunch of fans, let me go into a Yankee stream and tell them, ha, Boston won the World Series the last 2 times and you didn't. Or I never went into, I've never done that.
but
I'm
you know
just
what?
wondering.
You know what, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Don't let him pay us no time.
I know that. I could block him if I wanted, but I'd rather have him have a conversation about it. You think
Pete takes? We're here to talk about
that?
We're here to talk about the prospects that we drafted on this shitty team. So hang out if you want to listen. On my takes, that's cool. Hang out if you want to listen to Jeremy's takes, that's cool. It's all good, man. Let's talk about Sauce Gardner, not Pete.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, but I'm not upset by it. I'm just wondering. I'd love him to sub to the channel. I'd love him to sub to the channel. I need the subs. And it's like, watch the channel and just talk to us. Instead of coming in and saying they suck, ask us the question. Say, why do you think the Jets will be good? They were last in the division. We were 4-13 last year. I don't blame you for thinking we suck if you're a casual fan. If you don't know the players and you didn't watch the games and you don't know who we drafted and who we picked up in free agency, if you don't know that and you don't know what our expectations are, ask us. That's what the channel is for. That's what the channel is for. Just ask us. Don't be a troll. Just talk to us. But coming in and saying you suck, how is that productive for your time? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I do want to say this, Pete. Obviously everything leading up to now has been very Jets focused. We're going to talk a lot about all the NFL teams.
Now I love them. You can say the Jets suck all you want, my friend.
Yeah, as the season comes on, we're going to be talking about a lot of different teams and a lot of different players on different teams. No, not solely the Jets. Our focus is still going to be the Jets, but we're going to talk about a lot of things. So tell us who you like, Pete, and we'll talk to players and discuss them too.
Tell us what team you like. I mean, we have a Jacksonville Jaguar fan in here. We have a Kansas City Chief fan in here. We have a Miami Dolphin fan in here. And we're all friends and we all get along. So you're a Dolphins fan. And that's cool. So you know what? Grandizer is in here. He's a Dolphins fan also.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you swept us. I get it. You didn't just sweep us this year, dude. You've beat us 3 years in a row. It's true. There's nothing that you're saying is not true. And nobody came in here and said we're going to kick the Dolphins' butt and we're better than the Dolphins. We know that we have to go out and prove it. But I promise you this. When we play the Dolphins, it's going to be a better game and we're going to be even more competitive than we were last year. I promise you we will. And if we beat you one of those games, then we beat you. And if you beat us both, then you got us. You get us. And you beat us again. But, hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's like the Dolphins are a great team now. They're building also. And you got a really good coach. And you're probably going to run the same offense we run. And guess what? Get ready for it to take some time because when you put in that West Coast offense and you put in that system, it doesn't come overnight, my friend. So get ready for a little bit of frustration, but hang in there because the second year of the system, it's going to look very good and you'll be very happy. But, you don't have to come in here and battle and fight with us. You can come and talk to us because, dude, that's motivation for us. It's fine. I'm not going around talking smack about Miami. You've beaten us for 3 or 4 years now in a row. You got us. We're just fans hoping to change that narrative, dude. That's all we want to do. So we're not here to talk trash. We're here to talk about our team. That's all. But if you subbed, I appreciate it. I honestly appreciate it, man. I could, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get to 500 and
hang on.
Yeah. Did it happen?
Your Adrenaline Fantasy Sports is correct. Jeremy is at 500.
How the hell did that happen, dude? I don't even know who's here that's doing it that hasn't been here already.
I
Oh,
don't
I'm at
know.
501.
501.
All right.
I'm
So let
happy
me
for
tell
you,
you
man.
something.
I'm really, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, Jeremy. I couldn't be more happy for you than this, man, because I know what you do and the amount of time and effort and patience you have with a lot of things. Guys like Pete's takes and so on and so forth, man. Just keep doing it, man. You know, we love you, dude. We
Thanks,
love you.
man. I appreciate that. And Pete's takes, I will give away. I'm going to look through my football cards. One of the things I'm going to give away Wednesday, if you want to join us for my 500 celebration party, is I'm going to give away some Dolphin cards. So I'm going to go through all my football cards. I'm going to find some Miami Dolphins from the 1995-94 team, and I'm going to be giving those babies away. I think I even got a Don Shula coaching card if I didn't already give it away. So join us, man. Hopefully you'll win. You'll win the Dolphins cards. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody. Thank you. So let's just do this. Let's take a break and do this. It's worth celebrating. I'm going to, obviously, Wednesday night is going to become a Jets with, I can't even say it, NFL Cast with Jeremy, and our Wacky Wednesday with Jeremy and Adam, and also a 500 celebration. And I will be consuming some hot sauce.
Yes.
And I will be giving away a lot of giveaways. We'll be celebrating, and also we'll be giving away 5 Boycott the Beat t-shirts. It is not a Jets t-shirt. It's for anyone that prefers YouTube content providers and real sports talk over the Main Street media. It's called the Boycott the Beat shirt. It just says Boycott the Beat. Any fan of any team could win it and be happy and wear it proudly. And the proceeds from those shirts go to the Children of St. Jude charity, and we'll be giving away 5 of those shirts on Wednesday night. It's going to be great on Wednesday. I'm so excited. Thanks so much, man. All of you guys that are congratulating me, you guys are the ones that did it. So congratulations right back at you. We did this together. I'm glad for everybody here that is here to celebrate with me. This is great. Awesome. Thank you, Dom, for your contribution to the channel.
Oh, man. This is you, dude. This is you, man. Own it. Own it, dude.
Thanks, Jets. Mess always promotes the channel, man. You know, this is great stuff. And look who's here for it, man. I'm so happy that like Adam S. Nick Rousseau is here for it. That's awesome. He's been here from the beginning. He's an OG. Nick Shine, my boy from Friday Nights, is here. I'll make a community post to celebrate right after the show. I promise you. I got to figure out if it adds automatically or I got to go do something, but it'll go out and I'll announce the 500 show, the 500. So, man, thanks, Wild Wave. I appreciate your support. You're always here. Awesome. Tigo, my new friend. Awesome fun, man. John,
yeah, hey guys, you know, a little shameless plug, not to take the focus off of Jeremy, but if you haven't, you know, checked out Tigo, go check out Talking Jets with Tigo, man. He's new to the game too. He's a solid dude. He's got great takes. He's knowledgeable, and he you know, he could use the support as well, man. He's one of us, dude. He's one of us. Go help him out too.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend for YouTube content providers. One day, 20,000 one day, guys. But yes, for now, it is the road to 1,000. And I'm not doing anything in between. It's 500, and the next milestone is 1,000. And when it's 1,000, people, I don't know if there are a lot of new people that might not know this. You guys probably all know Green Bean Jets fan. Well, he has a Patreon, 3 levels of his Patreon. And one of his levels is if you pay $25 a month, you get to be on his show and do a guest appearance, and it's all kinds of cool stuff. And there's a lot of people who'd love to be part of it, but $25 a month is a little steep for them. Well, when I hit 1,000 subs, I am going to sign up somebody from one of my subscribers to be basically a 1-year subscription to be a tier 3 green beaner or potter or whatever he calls it. And you'll get to do a show on Green Bean Show. You'll get to do a show on my show. I'm going to throw that in. And we're going to give away a lot of prizes. So that's what's going to happen when we get to 1,000. And hopefully it'll happen. I know it took a long time to get to 500, but I'm told the ride to 1,000 could be a lot faster. So let's hope that it does. March our way to 1,000. I love it. I love it, man. What a weekend for it to happen.
Yeah, man. Now I lost where we were, dude.
Now Pete's our friend, man. Thank you. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate your help, man. 500. Yeah, 500, man. 500. Look at all this, man. I'm so glad everybody's here to celebrate it. It's awesome. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, don't worry, Tigo. We want to push your channel too, man. We want to get you there too. Don't worry about it. I'm happy to celebrate it and to push your channel. And when they monetize you, we want a piece. Oh my God, that's so funny. Because where do you think when you get monetized, where do you think any of the money really comes from? It's not the ads, friend. It's not the ads. You got to get to 1 million for that. Oh, that's funny. Man. Yeah, man. It's good stuff. Good stuff. You hope you're the lucky one. Yeah, man, it's a good prize, and it helps out my friend Green Bean. That's why I'm excited to do it, because whoever wins is going to be really, really happy, and Green Bean, and it really helps Green Bean. It's going to make him happy to have another tier 3 member. So it's cool. It's a great prize, I think. I think it was a great idea that I must take credit for myself. Let's see. Are we caught up?
I think so, dude.
Yeah, the super chats come at 1,000. That's when it monetizes and everything. I'm not going to ask anybody that to do that. It's funny. I'm glad you guys got me to 500, because I was going to call J. Cole and apologize to him and beg him to forgive me for hurting his feelings, because I know he has 4 accounts that he unsubscribed that he could have resubscribed to get me there. But I guess now I'll save that for when we're at 996.
I didn't realize that J. Cole's not here tonight. Holy shit.
Get Mud Vials. Yeah, I gotta get Mud Vials to love my channel. No, I gotta get Ab Lab Studios. I don't know what Ab Lab Studios is, but I gotta get them to love my channel. I will send them cards. I'll advertise. If it's a company, I'll put their website up. I'll do whatever I can for Ab Lab Studios, because they're pretty serious too. Player for Garrett Wilson.
Let's get it. I guess we'll get into Garrett Wilson.
Let's get back to business. So we talked about Sauce Gardner now.
Yeah, listen. I mean, there's not much more. I think anyone has to say. I mean, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know about Sauce Gardner. I think I think he's phenomenal. I think he's a great fit in our scheme. Everyone seems to love him. If you believe what you see on some of those clips from the War Room, there was no question at any time that Sauce wasn't going to be the pick. So, Salah probably loves him. The comp is hard, and I wrote one down, and I think it's more so probably for the size and the way that this guy plays, very physical, cerebral, not the biggest guy, but, tall, so on and so forth. And just that fit that Richard Sherman had in the Seattle defense kind of correlates to what I think Sauce Gardner can do, in the same scheme. So we'll talk Garrett Wilson. What do you guys say?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk Garrett Wilson. Let me just got to do one thing.
Go ahead, man.
No, I'm just somebody wants to come on. So, but talk about Garrett Wilson, because maybe we'll have him come on after we're done covering the playoffs.
Sure. Garrett Wilson, man. Production out the wazoo. Big enough, not the hugest, but big enough at 6 foot, 185, 190 pounds. Excellent athlete, explosive. Again, another sub 4.40 at 4.3 and change, which seems to be the mantra. If anyone's looking, they're putting very, very fast guys on the field now. JD is. He wins at all 3 levels, meaning, in the intermediate stuff, the deep ball, he plays that short game good. I think he's actually exceptional, in that 0 to 10 yard frame. What he does on the bubble screens and those underneath throws. He makes shit. He makes positive yards out of nothing. Which I really, really, I really, really like. He's a yard after the catch machine. He's very, very, very fluid. Also, again, loose hips, like I said, fast, quick, excels in the big game too. Pressures, pressure burst pipes, but they also make diamonds. And I think he's, kind of on that ladder. Like he really steps up when the game's there. Now, again, 6 foot, 185 pounds, not the biggest, not tiny, but not the biggest. He definitely struggled against some of the bigger, stronger press coverage guys, So I am going to love to see some of the camp battles that he's going to have against Sauce Gardner, right? I think that's going to be like, some for the ages. He definitely needs to tighten up some of his route running. He rounds things off. He becomes a little too predictable at times. All in all, I think he's going to be a phenomenal addition to this team. I think he can play in the slot at times. I think he can play on the outside opposite of Corey Davis at times when Elijah's in the slot. I think you can have all three interchangeable, which is what I really love about this offense. I think all three of these guys bring different things to the table, but they're all interchangeable, and I know that the going comp for him is Calvin Ridley. I see a lot more Brandon Cooks in him. You know what I mean? Gets the ball in his hands, and and he's gonna have he'll average 18, 19 yards per reception. You know what I mean? I don't think that 70 catches is out of the realm for him coming into this year. Kind of lofty, but I think that's the skill set that he brings. 70 catches and 1,000 yards is not unattainable for him. So
I love it. I would hope not. I mean, there's a lot, in our system, it's a lot. You also got to look at the system, who else there is. If you look at the scheme that we're running and you look and consider there's Elijah Moore, there's tight ends. The system's going to love and be friendly to tight ends. The system's going to love throwing to running backs. The system's going to love to run the ball a lot. To get 70 receptions and 1,000 yards is not easy in our system. And that's why I tell people, don't get too crazy with the stats. Like, don't get obsessed with stats. Watch the games. Is he helping us win games? That's all that matters. It's not the stats. If we throw to him only a few times because we're dominating on the ground and we're running the ball the most of the time, but every once in a while on third down, he's creating space and making big plays for us, that's fine. It's not just the stats. It's him doing his job to help the Jets win. And and it's hard because a lot of people want the stats are sexy and people want to see them.
Yeah,
but we just have to. It's about winning.
And the Jets were very high on him from everything that you hear from you read. He was hands down their number one receiver on the board, and arguably the number one receiver in the class. I think you can make an argument for some people made the argument for Jameson Williams, which is fine. Some people made the argument for Drake London, which is fine. And some people said Garrett Wilson. But the Jets were clearly highest on Garrett Wilson. So I think that they have an idea of what he can do in this offense. And this offense is predicated by getting the ball quickly into your receiver's hands and letting them produce yards after the catch. To me, it's a no-brainer fit. I like the player. I like the fit. I'm happy he's on my team for sure.
Okay, so we are going to and we'll get his opinion on Garrett Wilson too, and then we're going to let you cover our last guy.
Okay.
But I want to bring on. Are you ready, buddy? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready.
Oh, somebody's coming?
Okay. Yeah. I think it's because I hit 500. Probably. I'm guessing. Well, hey, what's up, buddy?
I'm here to celebrate 499. Because 499 is when you were just a little man. Now you're a big boy.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, man. I saw it. I've been watching the show. I got you and Dom's beautiful faces on the television right now on the big screen. And when I saw you hit 500, I was putting it in my Proud New York Jets fans group. I was texting people privately. I texted the kids on the group thing. I was like, follow this now. Don't ask questions. They're like, we got you, Dad. Don't worry.
I love it. Thanks.
I was like 483, and then like 10 minutes later, you were like 495. And I think John Nolte said in the chat, he goes, "Damn, Nick, how many kids you got?" But good for you, man. Good for you. I'm very, very happy for you. I just wanted to pop in and share that. You know, you and Dom got a great show going. I don't want to take away from that. I don't want to.
Oh man, you're welcome to hang anytime, dude.
Hey, good night, King Golter. Good
I
night.
didn't even move the computer over by the desk. I still got the computer set up right here to link it to the TV.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just use my phone for 5 minutes. I'll pop on and congratulate you.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I appreciate it.
You're doing good stuff, man. I think we connected, and you were like 190s because you did the hot sauce thing, right? And then you blew up.
200. I did the hot sauce thing at 200. Were you around for that?
Then 230. I was right after the hot sauce thing. It was like that week, and then we met on CJ's show on that on Weapons Hot that Friday night.
Yeah. Man.
Okay. Good for you, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Good for you, man. I know how much work you put into this. Like Dom said, I know how much you care about this. And the best part about it, not to like make this like a jerk off Jeremy session, but you're a really good dude too. So it's very easy to like you and to root for you and to cheer for you because you're a very good, genuine person. And there's not a lot of those people out there anymore. So
except if you're a Jets beat writer, then Jeremy fucks you up.
Oh, that's fine. But that's a switch.
I love the Twitter wars he has with Connor Hughes.
Yeah, they're good. But that's the rite of passage as a Jets fan, right? We're not going to knock any of our own for going after the awful beat. We should call them beat down instead of the beat. They're just beat down.
I appreciate it, man. No, really.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. And the community that you have, you know, some of it has sprinkled over onto my page, and some of the good people that we have here, and we met here through the chat. You know, Tigo, Iowa, Buffalo, Dark Soldier, everybody. You know, Gitmo, Bob, Rusty, everybody. It's a really good channel. It's a really good chat. It's a really good group of people. And the most exciting part about all this, we're gonna get good. And then it's going to be fun. Like, it's not going to be doomsday, apocalypse now type of conversations anymore. It's going to be maybe this January. I can't believe we just went into such and such a stadium and knocked them off. Now we're going into the next round.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's going to be fun when the W's start happening as often as our podcasts do. So let me dip out. I'll get back in the chat, but you know how much love I have for you and what you do. So I just wanted to request to come in real quick and congratulate you. Dom, good show, great contributions tonight. I'm enjoying all of your input.
Good stuff, Nick. As always, man, my dude.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon, guys. Everyone in the chat. I'm gonna get back there and kind of upset Pete turned the corner because I deleted his first comment. Jets suck. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this for me. Because if I look at that comment, I'm going to go off. So I'm like, you know what? Just delete it.
Yeah.
Your response to him and how you approach that is why great things are going to happen for you. It's very easy to clap back at somebody and drop an F-bomb or go F your mother or whatever your go-to line is when someone pisses you off. But the way you handled it, and said, let's have the conversation. Let's discuss it. I think that was really, really fucking cool. And you deserve to blow up at that minute. And you did. Good stuff, man.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I got to credit Green Bean.
Dom, great show. I'm going back to chat to be your security guard.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good night. Later. I appreciate you, brother.
Later, Dom.
Later, brother.
All right. So that brings us to perfect timing in the show. The show is really well paced right now for where we need to be and where we are. So where we are is Jermaine Johnson, probably the for certain for I think it's unarguable that the thing about Jermaine Johnson is that he was the pick that brought the draft together. He was the pick that brought the joy. The trade and the pick of Jermaine Johnson is what made the 2022 draft, without question.
The trade up and like everyone was so jonesing for that edge, and some people, dare I say, even like pissed off that it didn't happen. Even though we got the likes of Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, disappointed and pissed off and upset that there was no edge there. But then again, I was not a believer that we were going to trade up and obtain a third first rounder, but again, I'm not JD, and he made it happen, man. And it was probably the single best memory in recent times that I have, Jets related, or the single best moment in Jets time that I've had that's Jets related in a long time. Because once we got back on the clock and late in that first round, I knew that Jermaine Johnson was going to be a Jet, and I knew it. And I said, wow, we got our guy. We got the guy that we talked about at 4 for so long, that I had, I had numerous discussions with Green Bean about on his shows and just in conversation with him saying, yeah, I'm more than comfortable with taking him at 4. If he's a Jets guy, I'm more than comfortable with taking him 4, and I meant that. And to get him at 26 or 27, whatever it was, after already getting Garrett Wilson, after already getting Sauce Gardner, like it was special. It really, really, really was freaking phenomenal. And any Jet fan who wasn't happy that we moved back up to the first round for an edge like Jermaine Johnson, unsubscribe to Jeremy. You don't belong here. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. But seriously, I like the player. I like the player a lot. 6'5", 255 pounds. We all know what he did in the Senior Bowl. Just came in there and completely dominated so much that he said, you know what, screw this. I'm not playing in the game on Saturday. I showed up enough. 7.5 foot wingspan on those arms. He's a little bit older. He's 23. Was a transfer from Georgia, and before that was a transfer from JUCO. So he's got, he's got some, he's got a lot of reps in him. Which is a beautiful thing. He's got the length that makes good ends in solid system work. And unlike Clemens that we talked about before, they're both relatively similar in size and length. But he is so solid against the run. He's a very, very, very stout run defender on top of being a very savvy pass rusher as well. Jermaine Johnson's very cerebral. That's what I love. That's what I love about this. There's a couple things I love about his game. A lot of things I love about his game, but he's very cerebral. He goes into every rep, every pass rep with a plan. Plan A, and plan A gets stalled. He's right into plan B. He knows exactly how to transition in his thing. He's a little bit, he's tall and he's thin framed. So he uses those long arms really good to shed block or set the edge on run. He's not the bendiest, he doesn't have the best bend. He's not, Kayvon Thibodeau or whoever want that might have that little bit, but he's cerebral. He's got a motor that doesn't stop too. He's a tackle for loss machine. I think he had almost 20 tackles for loss last year, and as well as 12 sacks, 70 something tackles. And the guy just produces. He can do it. And he can do it from his feet. He can do it with his hand in the dirt, with his hand in the dirt. And yeah, man, I just think he's good. I don't think, like I said, Saleh likes to rotate these rushers or these defensive linemen in and out, so I don't know, what quantifies or what qualifies you as a starter, but I think he'll see the field a lot. I could imagine him getting, 50 or 60 snaps a game, right off the get-go. He's got that get off the line, which you need to succeed. He's a smart player. He's stout against the run. He's physical. He gets swallowed up sometimes. If he doesn't extend his arms, he gets caught up. He's got his faults. Most of them being, like I said, directly at the point of attack. But all in all, I couldn't be happier with the pick. I couldn't be happier with the prospect. I think the future is bright for him. And I think that there's going to be probably about 24 teams or so that passed on him that are going to say fuck. For sure. That's what I see. That's what I see out of the guy. We had a lot of talks in shows past about Jermaine Johnson. he's got the highest floor out of all these guys. He might not have the ceiling. I don't know if he'll ever be a 15, 20 sack a season regular guy. But I don't think I think he's got the highest floor. I don't expect him to completely fail out either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see him. I could see him on my pro comp for him is Max Crosby from the Raiders, who I love that player. I love Max Crosby. Same trajectories. I can see him coming in, getting a lot of the grunt work in, and developing himself into a force on the edge, opposite a really, really, really elite pass rusher. Carl Lawson, also the same guy. Like Carl Lawson's a pressure machine. I think Jermaine Johnson could be a pressure machine before he really develops into a sack machine. That's what I got.
Wow. So let me ask you something else. And I love what I'm hearing. I love people with higher floors. That's important because we don't at the very least we don't want to miss. We don't want busts. We don't want people that don't contribute. Right? You can't hit on every pick and get a blue chip player in every pick. And we got three picks in the first round. We don't, we can't say that the future depends on all three being blue chip players. But we certainly don't want them to become wasted picks where they don't do anything and don't contribute, because we know where that brings us. But can you talk a little bit about why does it help to have another great edge on the other side? So like Carl Lawson, if he comes back 98% and he's great and he's getting all those pressures, forget it. It's not just sacks, right? We all know the impact that Carl Lawson was making his last year in Cincinnati with the amount of pressures he had and everything. So let's say he comes in. I don't know what his sack total will be and if it was going to go up or not. Who cares? But he plays the way he played in Cincinnati. How does that help Jermaine Johnson? And how does Jermaine Johnson help Lawson? Why does it matter to have two capable guys?
Well, think about this, okay? Who's the best? It doesn't matter. Give me a name. Who do you consider like the best or an elite pass rusher right now in the NFL?
J.J. Watt, I'm sorry, his brother, whichever, T.J. Watt.
Okay, T.J. Watt, that's fine. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you said Nick Shine. The point I'm trying to make. You have this guy on one side, right?
Yeah.
And what T.J. Watt get last year? 20 sacks, something like that. If not close. Okay. So you have 20 sacks. That this guy is going to produce. He's going to put pressure. He's going to get on you right now, right? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do?
Double team.
You line up your offense, right? You might double. You might put somebody out there. You might keep a tight end on that side. You might keep a tight end to kind of chip in there. You might, shift your protection over to that side so that a guard opens up and fans out. So he's there for another level of protection. You might shift over the running back and decide, hey, listen, you stay in and help with the pass production because I got TJ Watt over here, right? You do all those things for TJ Watt, right? Carl Lawson's healthy last year. Teams are doing all those things for Carl Lawson. Maybe not to the same extent or so on and so forth, but you put a guy who can come in and put pressure on the quarterback and beat one-on-ones on one side, and then he starts producing. Now where are you going to shift your protection? Where are you going to shift your protection? That's what it does.
Right.
That's why I think it's so important to have bookends. It helps with it helps kind of overcome any sort of pass pro tendencies the team might try to do in-game management, try to shift away or gear towards you,
Yeah. That's great. And it makes total sense because, and it's like Eminon is saying, like, how many guys can you double team? How many guys can you give special attention to? When it's one guy, you can build a game plan to stop the one guy. I think we saw that with Thibodeau happening a lot. We saw, forgetting which team did it, but it was like the entire game plan was to have tight ends chip them and to run to the other side to take him out of the game. But man, it was hard to do that with Hutchinson because of Ajabo on the other side, right? I mean,
right, that's right.
So
some might say that they made each other, left alone. Will Aiden Hutchinson be what he was, or will Ajabo be what he was? You know what I mean? Which way? And as defense, think about that. Just think about your defense right now. We know what Q is supposed to be, and what he really can be. Think about having a very good pass rusher in Carl Lawson. I don't want to say elite because he's coming off an injury, so on and so forth. A very good pass rusher on one side, coming off playing your left defensive end. You got Q Williams coming up the middle. You have JFM, who's a very talented pass rusher, also coming up the middle. And you have somebody, whoever you want on that opposite side, whether it's Jermaine Johnson, Vinnie Curry, the kid they brought in from the Texans, whose name's skipping, Jacob Martin, who gets after the quarterback too, where you can't stop everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you know what I love is if JFM is in the middle, he has that great first step. He really that's his strongest thing is that first step. Probably I think his strongest asset that really helps him. And then when you consider, like, can you imagine when we line up the plays that we line up, Carl Lawson, JFM, Q Williams, and Jermaine Johnson, and tell them all just get the quarterback. Like it's 3rd and 12, get the quarterback. And then you got Reece and Sauce and coverage.
Think about what Ulbrich and Saleh can do. All right. You just gave those 4 right there. What if they pulled a linebacker off the field, right? And then they brought in Jacob Martin to stand up on the opposite side outside of Carl Lawson. And you can bring that's the thing, you can get creative. You can bring blitzes. We didn't blitz a lot last year, right? We didn't blitz a lot, but now you can, if you want to.
Oh, and we got guys in the secondary who can blitz because Sauce Gardner could blitz. He's fast. He's a jet. He could, you just have a safety come in and take his guy, like have that, and have him just charge the quarterback, or even Whitehead.
Yeah, or even more so. Whitehead, Whitehead can get after it. I really think, the chat might not like this take, but I've said it a lot and I stand to it. I really think that's what Ashton Davis can do very well. Ashton Davis is that, I don't know if he's meant to play single high, a true traditional free safety, but you have him roam and lurk around and kind of, play with him, stunt with him. If you go into a zone blitz and you drop JJ back into coverage on the short and you bring in, an Ashton Davis off the corner or, LaMarcus Joyner off the corner or something like that. Like you have a lot more options, but I think that's I don't know. I can't say I saw a lot of tape where I saw Sauce blitzing off of the edge. I'm sure it happened. I didn't see a lot of it. But I think there are guys that can do it on our team. Ashton Davis for one, Jordan Whitehead for one, so on and so forth. So
yeah. I just think there's so much. It's going to be so hard to predict what we could do play to play. Like if it's 3rd and 12, we have the kind of players now, and we got the kind of talent. If we stay healthy, we could just bring the 4, which is what our scheme is designed to do. But we can mess with you. We can have somebody come, and it's not going to be fun when it happens. It's not going to be easy on these quarterbacks. So, man, I'm really looking forward to like having those memories of the sack exchange, like those memories of just having those dominant games. We had one last year. We had a game last year even without all these guys. We had that game where we had like 7-8 sacks, right? Against, I'm forgetting, was it Cincinnati? Cincinnati. Yeah. So can you imagine what it looks like now? It's like now we got Lawson and JJ. Oh my God, I almost feel sorry for I feel sorry for teams that don't come with a good offensive line. They come into our house without a good offensive line, and there's going to be some pain. There's going to be some.
That's the hope, man. That's the hope. Again, on paper, I couldn't be happier. It looks phenomenal, But what happens on the field is always a different, always could paint a different picture. But I'm optimistic, and they
got to hit. Like it's got to be the JJ that we're seeing on tape in the NFL. We have to see it translate. I mean, that's the key thing. I have no doubt about Sauce Gardner translating because the speed and the athleticism is there and the skill is there. Especially after seeing what he did against Jameson Williams. like I know he can cover elite talent. Garrett Wilson, I'm fairly confident about. Like, speed is speed. He has the athleticism. You can't, the speed is going to be the speed no matter what level you play at. And he seems to be a really smart, good, strong route runner. So I think he's going to be fine.
I think there's some improvements. He's not the worst,
Mhm.
but he's not the greatest route runner either. I think there's some improvements that he can make,
Right.
but I think that probably will come with time and more season once he gets with, an NFL coach and so on and so forth.
Is it common though? I mean, is it common for guys to improve when they go from like at that position and that skill?
It
I mean,
depends,
is it
man.
something
It
that's
depends.
and how hard they work.
Antonio Brown was not a good route runner when he was coming in. That was his big knock. Antonio Brown turned out to be a pretty damn good NFL player. Douchebag of a guy, pretty good NFL player, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And didn't there are lots of guys who came up, right? And just each year got better and better as they became better.
There always is.
Yeah.
There always is. What's the name? The good, correlate that. God, I can't think of his name right now. Who's the slot receiver for the Raiders? Played at Clemson.
Renfro.
Hunter Renfro. Thank you. He was a good player at Clemson. He was good, on a good offense, so on and so forth. But he really has made a name for himself now in the NFL by really working hard and developing and learning how to run routes the way to beat NFL teams, And if you ask anybody who's, maybe there's some Raider fans in here, or if you follow any of the Raider stuff or talk to anyone who talks Raiders, anybody on that team will tell you the same thing. Derek Carr says this whole time. The player that Hunter Renfro was when he came in and the player he is right now, like night and day. Again, I'm not comparing Garrett Wilson to Hunter Renfro, but to the point is, yes, you get at it something what you put into it, And if you want to work to become a better route runner, you can become a better route runner, Like I said, he's not a bad route runner, Garrett Wilson. He just gets sloppy sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's that sharpness, that crispness, he's done a lot of things, just putting into a second gear and going, third gear and going.
Is it possible that some of that sloppiness is because he was so dominant against that competition that he didn't have to be?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, maybe it's he didn't have to win out, but that's the thing. That's going to be a transition for him. He's going to be playing against a lot of Sauce Gardners throughout the league.
Yeah. I mean, he had those guys. He had guys playing so back on their heels that I saw it. You could see it in some of his highlights where he could just throw his arm, and because they're so scared of him and what he's going to do, you could see them pause, and that's when he would take off. Yeah. It's not going to be that easy in the NFL, obviously.
There was just so many
throw his arm,
Just as we were talking about, like all the weapons that we now have on our defensive line rotation. That's what Ohio State had on their offense. You know, he didn't have to. He didn't have to be a technical route running savant. Because he normally faced single coverage because everyone else is spread out. They didn't have to hone in on him because you had Olave, you had Rucker, you had anybody on that field.
So. Yeah. So and Czar Soldier brings up a good point, changing the subject a little bit. What are the chances the Johnsons and Maras change to grass? I think we have to make more noise about it. Like the more noise we make about it, I mean, it helps the players to support the players in this. I don't understand why they wouldn't. The Giants
I think it's slim to none.
The Giants had some serious injuries too, though. They lost their best linebacker because of that turf. I mean, it's just one thing after another. How long are both those owners going to allow their teams to be at such a disadvantage that we lose these players to non-contact injuries because we play on the absolute worst turf in the NFL?
There's so much that goes on at MetLife Stadium that the grass wouldn't hold. It just wouldn't make sense. I would say, listen, I'm all for it. I'd say slim to none.
It's an awful thing, man. It's really because it's like it's gonna cost us great players in the future. So
yeah, if anybody here is in Jersey, all that money they spent on Xanadu and the that new mall that they put in, that could have been our grass.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
And I agree with
prospects, man. I mean, we got some UFDA undrafted free agents that we signed. I'll have you can check it out on greenbeanjetsfan.com. I'm going to have a write up on a little bit of a deep dive on each one of our undrafted free agents. I can go into them, but we're going to be here until 2 a.m. and no one wants that.
Nick is finally answering their question. He has 2 kids, guys, a son and a daughter.
That he knows of.
Yeah, and Saquon, that's right. Saquon got hurt twice, both times at home, right on that turf.
I don't know if it was at home or not.
I still say that even if it's not at home, it wears you down too. That you can then go and play a game on grass, but because you play so many weeks on that turf, it sets you up for it. Because it's not just that moment thing. My friend was literally backing up, walking backwards, coaching his kids' football team, and he went to the ground with a torn Achilles. And I'm convinced, like I said, dude, that was like gonna happen. Like it was like, it's not just, it was perfectly healthy and it just happened one day because you took a step backwards. It was wearing down, right? I mean, it can't be like, why would it magically just happen when he's walking backwards? You know what I mean?
So the improvements of the field turf they are now is light years from what AstroTurf used to be. I can tell you this. I mean, I was Jeremy, I was a baseball player in college, and we played on AstroTurf. And I rounded the bag one time, rounding third base, going to home, and my cleat got caught on that thing, and I just completely shredded my knee. Every ligament in my knee blew. So I know how it could happen. I don't know. Field turf is much better than that, but there's still nothing better than actual grass. Right. You know? You want the natural shit.
So I'm assuming if their average 40 time is 4.37. Now Corey Davis is the slowpoke in the group. Do you know what his 40 is?
He's sub 4.5.
Yeah. He's like probably 4.4, 4.44.
In the 4.4s somewhere, probably high 4.4s.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. They put a lot of speed out there, man.
Yeah. But I like Corey Davis. I like the combination of the different kinds of players. Like Moore is that guy who could play any position. The crispest route, such a crisp, great route runner, is only going to get better. Yeah. Right. Garrett Wilson.
Moore is ridiculous.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson is speed and explosiveness. Corey Davis is size.
Yeah.
Right. Just a big target.
So I see something. I see someone put here. Nathan talked about, heard the Middle Tennessee State linebacker may have a good chance to make the 53. He's talking about DQ Thomas, who was probably our biggest, most notable undrafted free agent acquisition. And yes, I think you're right on that, Nathan. I'm not going to get into a big deep dive, but from what I understand, the Jets offered him a 6-figure guaranteed contract. 6-figure guarantee. So they offered him over $100,000 in guarantees. They did that with Isaiah Dunn as well. They offered him a lot. I don't think they got the 6 figures. The only person that they offered more guarantees on, very interesting, another Dom C guy, was Donovan West. Donovan West, the center from Arizona State. It came down to the Jets and San Francisco. And San Francisco offered him over $230,000 in guarantees. That's more than they paid some of their 7th round draft picks.
Wow.
Yeah. So both listen. I said it the whole time. He was an ideal scheme fit for a developmental backup interior lineman, and obviously San Francisco runs the same offense as us. Thought so as well.
Yeah.
And
we knew that was going to happen with San Francisco. We knew there was going to be overlap and going for the similar guys, and it was only natural. I mean, when it's very with the coaches, and like it's very incestual. It's like, so that's why we pick up some of the free agents from the Niners. I mean, that's why it's happening, right? That's why we picked up that running back Austin Walters, because we knew our coaches knew him.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, and by the way, he didn't play bad. I don't know why people. I'm not saying he's a
I
star.
was, he's a Jag, man. He's a
Yeah.
Jag. I don't want to have a roster full of Jags anymore. I want
No, not at all. But I mean, just as I just meant what he asked us to do what we asked him to do. Like I thought he was. I it's not like a Van Rotten. I mean, I don't dislike the guy. He came in and he did his job, so I just appreciated him for that.
Yeah, and is anyone else shocked that Van Roten's still on the roster? I don't know if we and maybe somebody who can check this or maybe know this or more in tune. Have we paid him any guaranteed money already?
I don't. Yeah, that's the question: is when could we cut him without having to pay money? That maybe they want him as a backup guard. I mean, he's a guy with starter experience, so maybe that's what they're thinking. They just want to have a backup guard, and maybe there's just no one out there that's better as far as being a backup guard.
Yeah, but I think you could find somebody better that doesn't cost you $3.5 million and everyone fucking hates. I can't take it.
It's hard to believe that we can't find someone just as good, if not better, for cheaper. Like you tell me for $1.5 million you can't bring in another guard that kind of sucks, that is serviceable as a backup.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Did LDT sign somewhere else?
I haven't seen him sign anyone else.
Why don't we just get LDT signed and then get rid of Van Rotten? I don't get it.
You'd have to call Joe Douglas and ask him that. I don't know why he's still on the roster. I don't think he's that. And I see Tigo. He's our. That he's on our roster already, knows the system. Yeah, but he's just not good. You can know the system all you want. If you're not good, you're not good.
Jeff Fans United. DQ Thomas and Tony Adams both got over $100K guaranteed dollars.
Yeah. Isaiah Dunn last year was the big one, and he was pushing those numbers.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know that they threw the bag at Donovan West, but he didn't take it.
What's up, Owen? Owen, it was a big night for the channel, Owen. We hit 500 subs, my friend. Yeah. Jets offered West 180 in guaranteed. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Oh, how about this? Did we get this guy? Interesting, curious about Jeremy Webb, 64205, feeling someone might want to convert this guy to linebacker. Did we sign Jeremy Webb?
We did, but I can't really speak to his game because I don't know it very well. I didn't watch anything yet on him. He's one of the guys that I'm writing about for Bean, and I'm interested. I'm interested to see. I don't know him at all. So,
but we're gonna get, obviously, if you're gonna write about him in the future, we'll be able to talk to him. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yes. My wife wants to know if I want the borscht. Well, if you're hungry, honey, if you're hungry and you want to cook the borscht, of course I will have some. Borscht, man, borscht. It's Ukrainian.
Who doesn't love a little beet soup, man? I love it.
It's the food of my people.
That's right.
We can cut him anytime without dead money, so we probably keep him in case someone goes down in camp. Yeah, it makes sense if you hold them to the last day possible, right?
Yeah, and David Gerard, I agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think that this staff had said it from the top of the hills that they like their linebacker room, and probably that's why they didn't move forward with one in the draft. I think that they really have high hopes for Sherwood and Nazeldine, and they really like Q. I don't really, like Q's not my favorite, or Quincy Williams, that is. It's not my favorite, but they seem to really like him, And I think with those four, tied in with the Delshawns of the world and so on and so forth, I think you're gonna, I think they're gonna be content. I think that they've boosted up the front, the defensive line, which was ultimately going to help the middle section and the linebackers as well. So I think you'll see vast improvements there, just based on the work that we've done on the front of the line and the back. So
Yeah, yeah. And this is true. Not taking a linebacker, it makes me think they like Sherwood, Nozzledine, and then Pinnock at safety. It's these are all good points. They definitely like him better than the fans do. They feel more confident in these guys than I think the fans have.
Yeah, they have a lot of safeties in the room right now.
A
They have
lot.
a lot of
And
guys.
it's a lot of competition, which is good
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Whoever emerges as the three behind Lamarcus Joyner and Whitehead it's very competitive to emerge as the three.
I think the three is Ashton Davis. You know, I do. And listen, and that's not to say, you know, because I know that they signed a couple of them as undrafted free agents, and there's still more guys that are going to be on our roster now that aren't. You know, but as constituted right now, I think the three is Ashton Davis, and I'm cool with that. You know, like I said, I think Ashton Davis has I think he's a good player. I just think he's been kind of typecasted out of position on the Jets. I think if they find the role for him, it's going to be very effective.
Do you think there's any chance we bring in Honey Badger?
No, from what I read or from what I heard, he's going to be signing with the Saints.
Okay. Wow, so they paid Marcus May all that money. Now they're paying a lot of money for safety.
Listen, I said it the whole time. The New Orleans Saints are win now, right?
Yeah.
They think that they have their window of opportunity to win is right now, which is why they're doing everything they can with all these contracts and kicking the can down the road and worry about it later. That's just the way they operate, and that's fine, you know. But they're win now, so they gave Marcus May a contract. There's a good chance Marcus May, forget about his Achilles. There's a good chance that he's suspended for a healthy portion of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if they have the capital, and I think that as of right now, they have the most available cap space in any team in the league. So if Honey Badger is going to call, you know, if you say, all right, Honey Badger, 1 year, $12 million, and at worst, you have both Honey Badger and Marcus May for the second half of the year, I think you're okay. Right?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, they're not gonna keep GVR to be on the practice squad at 3 point something million. But I think if they get LD to sit down and get ready to sign a contract, and they have to pay him $4 to $4.5 million or whatever, where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from GVR's contract when he gets cut.
Yeah,
you know, Matthew Smith. I still got to mail him his cards that he won the other day. Rucker is a tight end too next year. I think Conklin will get cut. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't
think next year. No. I don't think the contracts work out like that next year. I think Uzama's base contract actually goes up a lot. It's year 3 where I think we could be rid of Uzama, and I'm not sure. I know Conklin's in for 3 years as well, but I don't know how it's structured.
I think we're only stuck with. I think all the dead money goes away like after 2 years, but I don't think there's any rush to leave Jeremy Ruckert on his own. I have no desire to. I'd be happy if we get 2 years out of both Conklin and Uzama, and then if Jeremy Ruckert's playing great, then we keep one of them, and for that 3rd year, and and then by then maybe Kenny Boa will come up by then.
Tyler Conklin is very underrated. He is a ridiculously good receiver.
He never dropped the ball. He got one drop last year.
He is unbelievable as a receiver. He's not the greatest in line blocker. Not the strongest guy, not the biggest guy, but he's a phenomenal receiver. For all the people that wanted to draft the Charlie Kolars of the world or the Cade Ottens, like we have that guy already in Tyler Conklin. So.
I think that Ashton Davis, people are deciding too soon on him, man. He was hurt his rookie year, and it was his rookie year. Then his second, then year number 2. I mean, he got on the field and was getting better every week. I don't understand why people are drawing this line in the sand that if you're not a star in your first 2 years, that you did not working out.
Well, I agree with this take that Matthew Smith put. Like, he is super versatile and very athletic. And I think they wanted to put that square peg in a round hole, right? They wanted to say, all right, you're super athletic, you're super versatile, you got range and stuff like that. Let's put you in the back. You go play, go play single high. You come down and support the run, so on and so forth. But that's just not what he does best. He does his best work behind the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? He does his best work in the short to middle zones. Ideally, he's a strong. If you're going to typecast him, with titles, he'd probably be better as a prototypical strong safety than a free safety.
Yeah.
Brisker is great, man. Brisker is a great talent. Unfortunately, we have Jaquan Brisker, in Jordan Whitehead. So I didn't necessarily see that fit. He might be a little bit more rangy than Whitehead is, but in essence, they're both, in the box safeties.
I don't agree that he's going to be behind Wesco, though, Jets Fan United. I think he's the tight end 3. Jeremy Rucker's a special talent. I think he's going to see the field a little bit. I think there's going to be times where he comes at the block at a minimum. I
think all 4 of them are going to be on the roster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You think Yeboah's not back to the practice squad?
Yeah, I do. If I can't see they might keep 5 tight ends, but I can't see it. But I think all 4. I think those 4.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. There's something about Wesco they like. So a lot of fans don't see it, but there's something about him they like. There's a lot of fans that like him, and apparently the coaching staff likes him. So I think that Dan Brown is gone, right?
Yes.
So, I think Conklin. I liked where he lined up on the outside and went over the top for a catch. I was like, oh, he's athletic. He can play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I like the thing I like about Uzomah is he's like a badass guy. He's not going to take crap. He's that guy that if anybody takes a cheap shot at Zach again, he's the guy that will say something. He's the guy that's going to get in somebody's face.
Listen, he's like the Sheldon Rankins, right? They brought Sheldon Rankins in. He was a nice role player. It was okay. But I don't think his importance plays on the field. That veteran leadership, someone who's been in the trenches, knows how to win, so on and so forth. That's why I think Sheldon Rankins is still on this team, because everyone says, talks ridiculously high about him, saying how good he is in the locker room. That's going to be CJ Uzomah.
And when are we going to get that Jets and Chiefs thing? Well, it looks like we're going to have to do that Jets and Chiefs draft for 2023. So we'll talk in December, buddy. But hey, we cover some Chief games on my NFL Watch channel because they're on at the late game a lot. So me and my brother cover it. So hopefully you'll join us when we are announcing and calling those games. We have a lot of fun doing the Chiefs. So we love Patrick Mahomes and we love Kelsey. Play Ruckers above the 500. So I think we're gonna wrap up. It's about that time. Let you go to bed. I know it's late there.
Yes, sir.
Get these guys to go to sleep.
So fun night though, man. Fun. Thank you, chat. We had a good time. A lot of information thrown back and forth, man. But that's what we do, And most importantly, we got to see our man hit 500, dude. I can't tell you how happy I am for you, dude.
Thanks. I appreciate it, man. It's been a great night. And hey, guys, I got a video that'll be out tomorrow when you wake up. Great show, Snacks. When you wake up, there's going to be a great video out. A great video. It's a video of Jets. It's Jets, the State of Jets Nation, my 6th episode. And it has all of my reactions to every pick. So it has all the reactions. I promise you're going to love the JJ reaction. There's no way you're not going to love that reaction. So check it out. It'll be 3 a.m. Eastern, I think. It gets released because it's midnight on the West Coast. It gets released. So when you wake up, it'll be there, maybe on your ride to work, whatever. And you definitely want to get those vids supported and going. I'm going to try to, as soon as school's over for the summer, I'm going to try to do a lot of short 2 to 3 minute quick video hits to help I just want to offer a variety of different things. But anyway, thanks, Dom. You were great tonight. Exactly the way I envisioned it, giving out great information for everybody, great analysis, and everybody have an amazing, amazing night. We had look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday. Everybody, let's go Jets. I would
All
regret
right.
it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly, here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right. It's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.